All right, Jerry. Let's not keep him waiting any longer. We can, BS behind the scenes anytime we want. So,
True that.
welcome everybody. It's another Saturday. Wait, Sunday. Sunday with a time change, so it actually is still light outside where I'm at. We got 2 feet of snow sitting outside. It's the first time I've seen that in this location since I've been here. Of course, I'm always traveling back and forth to Seattle. 2 feet of snow sitting outside. Is that you? Yeah, it was you. I checked
Sorry.
this time. Yeah. Let's see who we got in here. We got Michael Kruger.
No
And
relation to Freddie, right?
yeah, that's what I was thinking the same thing, we got Dan Ethos Investing. We got All Good, which was I think fourth or fifth, not first. We got Christian Gonzalez. Let's see who else do we got here. And that's it. At least anybody has commented so far. And we got MD8 or B, or I guess I need to get glasses, man. She's
MDB.
MDB. MDB. You got Enrique Webb as well. So yeah, let's go through what happened last week and how you handled it, how I handled it. I'm gonna talk about my experience first, and hopefully it won't scare too many people. We got Rebecca Quest of Fire here. Looks like she's either off or she's working. I don't really know. We got Thumper here, good old Thumper.
Thump.
Yep. So last week, if you don't remember, Monday was a pretty rough day in the markets. And I think it was Monday. It could have been Tuesday. God, it's like every day kind of just rolls into one for me. I did take a pretty substantial loss last week. I decided to cut a lot of stuff that was in the money that wasn't really probably going to be out of the money by the end of the week. Hindsight's always 20/20, but so I took about a $2,200 loss, okay, and I didn't roll everything. There's some stuff that just couldn't roll down and get any, I had to go out months. So I just figured why not just cut the losses. It was an executive decision. I'm up $13,000 for the year. Take a $2,000 or $3,000, I think it was $2,200, something like that loss. Take the loss and rebuild, right? Start putting some new positions on that, even lower, right? Like, is the market going to drop another, 10%? Probably not, So why not just take those positions off, basically start rebuilding, right? Putting on new positions that aren't so much tech, right? Because it looks like tech's having an issue. So I put less positions on our tech and I went down lower, even safer, right? Because the market's already down, hasn't recovered completely. So I'm safer than where I was, right? So at this point, I've already recovered some of that $2,200 loss. And I think I'm only down, about $1,200 for the month of March at this point. We still have 2 weeks left. I do plan on being positive for this month, and that's fine, right? How often does a 10% pullback happen? It doesn't happen that often. So if you have to take a loss that month or break even that month, that's fine, right? Because the rest of the year you should be making money. So that was my situation. I'm digging out of that hole. I have a plan. The next 2 weeks, I should be positive for this month, especially because I'm out of danger. There's nothing else that's going to be in the money most likely, unless we have a pretty substantial pullback the rest of the month, which I don't really expect. So, what did you talk about? Well, before I ask you that, I just want to say sometimes getting rid of those losers, to free up some buying power, is a good thing to do, right? Let me just say this. Had I just held those till the end of the week, most of those positions would have been out of the money, and they'd been fine. That $2,000 loss wasn't really needed, but you don't know, right, that's going to happen. You don't know the market's going to recover, So I have to protect myself with the buying power. I got to protect myself with, hey, this position is probably not going to be out of the money by the end of the week or something like that. Why not take advantage of the up day or whatever and get out of it? And that's just what I did. So why don't you talk about your experience last week, Gerry? Because I think you kind of dealt, something similar mindset there.
Yeah, it was very similar. Last week was rough, and going into Monday was rough. And so what ended up happening for me is that the more down days you have in an options account, the more your buying power gets depleted, right? So your margin maintenance goes up extremely high. So here I was sitting Monday afternoon at about 70% plus usage. And that's kind of uncomfortable, especially with the market going down. So with the market going down, you're already, getting hot on your usage and your maintenance margin, and you're handcuffed, right? You can't do anything. You can't take advantage of the market going down. You're kind of just stuck doing nothing, just watching. And so Tuesday came around and it had that big spike up, and I thought it was a head fake. I really thought it was a head fake. I thought we were gonna,
Do what we did. Yeah.
get that up day, and then we, proceed down for the rest of the week. Well, like you said, hindsight 2020, it didn't happen, but at the time, that's what it felt like. So
Still may happen though.
it still may happen, right? So at the time, I had 2 puts in the money that was taken up about, I don't know, roughly $8,000 in maintenance margin, right? Those were the 2. And they were both ARCs, ARC K and ARC G. And so when we had at one point on Monday, those positions were down almost $2,000. So Tuesday came around, we had that big spike up, and I saw the opportunity to get out at a $1,000 loss. So I took the loss. I didn't roll them because I already have an ARC K put rolled out to April, so I didn't roll it. But what that did, and I was fine with it, because what that did was it removed the pressure off the maintenance margin and the buying power, and it got me back in the game, right? Because I was handcuffed. So taking off those positions got me back into a position where I could sell more puts and take advantage of what was happening in the market, even though we just kept going on up, but you didn't know that at the time. So, getting out of those positions, hindsight again, if I would have waited till Friday, I would have been perfectly fine. But sitting there doing nothing and being handcuffed, it's not a good feeling. So getting rid of those positions, starting over, rebuilding, selling more things that are in more of a safer position, and like you said, rebuild. And that's what I did.
Yeah, cutting those losses early. Like you said, it was one of those situations where they could have just pulled the rug, right? Like, oh, anyways, they still can. But at this point, it would take probably another 7% down, maybe a 5% down in a week or something like that to probably bother some of the positions I have on now. And like I said, I've kind of reduced. I still have a lot of tech on, but I'm not in as much, right? So I feel like I'm just safer because it looks like the tech is still having an issue due to the interest rates. Well, the Treasury bond, is it the Treasury? It is 10-year Treasury notes specifically.
Yeah.
So
I'm in a negative position for the month, and I should make some of it back. I don't know if I'll end up positive for the month, but that's okay because I'm positive for the year, and we're rebuilding. And
all that matters is you're positive at the end of the year. That's all that matters.
Exactly. So
and preferably, more than 10% up, which we should all be there.
Yeah.
I mean, don't, everybody here in the comments, don't let us like scare you. I mean, if you were in any dividend portfolio, all your positions would be down too, right? I mean, it's the same thing here. We're just playing a game. It's a game of life. It's a game of Monopoly or whatever. And it's just, it's a little bit of a management thing. And, anyways, I'll be up probably for the month. We'll just see. We got 2 more weeks left. Looking at how much premium I have on for this week and next week, I should be positive by the end of the month. And, that's fine. I didn't take a negative month. And, how often the market's not going to continue to go down, months on end, right? I don't care if it just barely goes down. I don't care if it trades sideways. I'll make money, right?
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't go down, 5 to 10% every month, I'll be fine, right?
Exactly.
So all good here. Which option strategy is good in current market conditions? CSPs are perfect right now. I would say naked calls are a little bit sketchy just because I think the bias is towards the upside at this point. So I'd kind of be scary. I'd be a little skittish, I say, doing naked calls.
Yeah, I'd probably wait until we hit all-time highs again, and then I'd look at putting on some naked calls on some stocks.
I mean, one thing you could do, because I was just looking at Amazon, for example. If you look at a chart on Amazon, like you can look at the 52-week high, or you look at the previous high I just had. And there's a trend line there, and you could go way above that and probably be fine. Because I don't think that Amazon, and I'm talking about just a week out, like $75 or something like that you'd get for it. I don't think that Amazon's going to jump way up there above its previous high that it had. It's going to stop there first. There's no way it's going to do that in a week. But you're risking a lot for that $75. So it's
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's talk CSPs.
We're talking them.
We're talking. That's my bread and butter right there. CSPs. Yeah, that's that. I think that's the place to be right now, just because the market's been dropped already. So if you're going to be going lower, that just means that in order to be tested, the market's going to have to drop another 5 or 10%, right? So I think that's less likely to happen. I'm also taking advantage of that too, like TTTTQ, the TQQQ, taking advantage of those, going out to the 50s, the 55s, and then if you go out to June, I think you get to the 35s. Not quite doing what Matt Money's doing. He's literally doing leaps on it, but 55, that's not bad, right? I don't mind getting a couple there, and then that 35 is the ultimate level right there, I think. So I will probably keep loading up on some 35s next time we have like a 2% down day or something like that. What are some of your core positions right now, or like your main bread and butter positions?
That's a good question. They're starting to change now after this, because I was playing NASDAQ, stuff, and that's been just under pressure. So, the ARCs have some of the NASDAQs in them. The QQQs, same thing. So I don't really have anything. I have some very weird stuff in my cash secured put side right now, because I'm not really playing the tech game as much. So I have some defensive positions, utilities. I also have some energy. What else?
You got a PMCC on Ed still?
I have a PMCC on ED as well as Pfizer.
Well, Pfizer
those
will
are my
fix your
only
ED
two.
problem. Pfizer will fix your ED problem.
Yeah, hopefully. They're both doing okay though. I don't have a problem with them. I had to roll up and out the short calls because of the Google Sheet malfunction, but that's okay.
Oh yeah, that's true. Let me just see what I have on right now. I put quite a stuff on the 12th, which was Friday. I put on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I put on 7 positions on Friday. And so I put QQQ on, I put Amazon on, I put Tesla on, I put TQQQ on, I put SPY, I put Tesla. Why do I have 2 Teslas on? Wait a second here. What is this? What's the deal here?
I put on Zillow.
Oh, I know why I put 2 on, because it dropped more. So one expires. I got a 350 Tesla and I got a 400 on. One expires next week and one expires the week after.
See what else I do. I put one on Oracle when it had its drop.
I looked. It was junk.
Yeah, I did. I did the 60 strike. It's still okay. I can get out of it for 30% profit for a few days. That's not bad.
Hey, David, welcome. Monday was a bad day for the NASDAQ. Yeah. And like I said, man, just like if you have a bunch of stuff on, you want to take advantage of those days, but you can't because the buying power's just exploded, So why not take that stuff on or take that stuff off for loss? And you can't, I looked at a lot of stuff and some of the stuff you just couldn't roll. Like, who
Yeah,
cares? You don't have to roll that exact position out to get a credit. Take it
exactly.
off. You could put that same position back on if you want, and just go for $200 or something like that instead of $600 or something like that,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, you could sell some weeklies out, and I mean, if it takes you 2 months to recover that loss, it takes you 2 months. I
Yeah,
mean, it's not,
exactly.
you don't have to make it up in one trade.
Exactly. And I think that's what people try to always do. But look, you can slice and dice it however you want. Um, and a lot of the positions I take off, I want to put back on because they're solid positions. But I did also think, okay, do I want to be an RK and in Tesla at the same time? I'm really rethinking that one there. So I don't have any RKs on right now because I'm in two Teslas.
I tried to put a Tesla 420 on Friday, but it didn't fill. So
Yeah, well, I think Elon Musk has smoked all that stuff up. I do have an AVGO on as well. Let's see, what's the other thing? Would you have not done the same moves if you were not up for the year? That's a good question. Well, the thing is in order for that to happen, in my opinion, we'd have had to start out of the gate in January for down market, right? That just wasn't the case. So what if somebody started in March? Or what if they started in late February, right? If they started in late February, then it could be a very discouraging. If they started like just started doing this, it might get discouraging if they just started in February, like late February, right? Like right when the market goes down, like it would have probably hurt them, and they might have not ever recovered from that, either
yeah,
mentally or maybe even account wise, right?
yeah. When you're in that, when the options are being pressured, you either you have some choices, and you can either inject cash. That's an option. That'll help. But if you don't have the cash, then you got to look at those options of rolling, taking positions off, things like that. So I
But
weighed
well,
all
I
those
mean,
positions.
also, I think that somebody just starting out probably wouldn't have had that many positions on. Hopefully, they wouldn't have been like Matt, aggressive or Randy aggressive, but or Thumper aggressive. It's just start off slow, right? Start out with some companies that are real solid companies. The micro craps. It's Crapple, sorry. Microsoft's Crapple. Um, what's some other solid ones? Facebook.
Facebook,
Uh,
Coke, Pepsi. I don't know.
well, the CSPs on those aren't worth shit, but
Yeah, they're not.
let me see. What else do I have on? Let's see. T's okay, but Snow, yeah, stay away from Snow and stuff like that. Realty
Yeah, just
Income wasn't bad, honestly. I have like what, four of those on. That's $240 right there.
it's nice to reset though and get back into some basic stuff.
I
And
think
then
CSP on LMT right now is perfect. Like that's
yeah,
a good play. It's pretty decent. That's a 9% probably of the money right there for a 17-day hold, $75 a pop. That's not bad. Netflix, that's Adobe, AVGO. I got some other ones out. Spy, you can always start with Spy, but buying power is kind of high on that sucker. Um, let's see, what do we got here? Were these losses from cash secured puts? Yes, mine were. I didn't have
yeah.
any naked calls on.
The thing of it is the what we're talking about, the losses. The losses, they weren't forced losses, right? We accepted the loss.
Right.
So that there's like kind of a difference there. We didn't have to accept the loss. So that's the cool thing about options is you have options.
Yeah. That's why they're called options. Of
That's why they're called options.
course, I'm just trying to think of what other thing could you say here? You couldn't have said were these losses from naked calls because
Yeah.
those most likely would have been printing big time, right? You just would have bought them back, and so I mean, maybe you're talking like spreads or something like that, maybe, but it wouldn't have been calls because they most likely would have been printing. I just darn thing jumped on me, Gerry.
Yeah.
Oh man, I missed a bunch of shit. Holy cow. Jomer, welcome. Looks like we got Randy here. I hope you're feeling better. You did sound pretty good last night. You looked good last night. You know, we got a swear word out of you, so that was my goal for the day or the night. We got
Yeah,
one.
we're happy now.
I'm happy for the whole week now at this point. Yeah, I get it, Randy. You're negative for the year? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I thought you took a bunch of stuff off for the surgery and stuff.
You know what? I think it's because he had he actually was long a bunch of shares of Tesla.
Yeah, is that really negative for the year though? It's not realized, right? Unless he sold it.
Unless he sold them, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there a bad word in there? No.
No.
I effed? Or no, is it just
if.
Oh, it's if. Okay. Shit, I'm terrible. If 100K fell into your lap tomorrow, would you invest it? Or how would you invest it? I tell you what, we go sniffing some freaking cocaine off of somebody's ass, but I probably wouldn't be doing that. That's what Matt Money would say. Probably for me, I don't know. Does that mean that's all I have? I only have 100K. That's it. How old am I? I guess how old am I too, right?
Yeah, for me personally,
already
it would just go straight in.
I might be thinking about different how I invest it. What's my time horizon? Maybe you can answer those questions, and then and then maybe I can answer the question better.
If it were me, it'd just go straight into the options account.
I was almost aiming towards that too, but it also depends on how old you are too. I guess if you're super old and you don't have anything else, then you would have to be doing options. What else are you going to be doing? You got nothing else to retire on, right?
He bolded your lap, so it's about you personally.
It's about you.
About me.
You, Gerry. My lap. Yeah, I guess you're right. He did have a guy like that. I can answer for me, but so for me, in my situation right now, I'd probably stick in my options account because my dividend portfolio, it's generating about $18,000 a year right now. The money I'm generating from the options account, I can just throw into the dividend portfolio. The more money I have in the options account, the quicker I can build the dividend portfolio. You know, I have a good mix right there. And, you know, I feel like I have not $18,000 a year in coma money, but that'll continue to go up as the notes get paid off. So I would love to build the options account larger. It's $200,000 right now. I don't have any plans to make it any larger than that. But if I inherited $100,000, it would just go in there, right? For you, it'd be the same thing, Gerry.
Same thing. I'm in accumulation mode, so definitely need that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, anyone, but you're strictly sticking to cover calls, and those stories wouldn't happen, right? No, that wouldn't happen.
No, you'd be fine.
Matter of fact, you'd be printing easy. You'd be like, well, speaking of that, my VYM calls, my covered calls in VYM are in the money again. So I got 9 contracts on, and it was literally like a $6 move in VYM in 30 days. I'm like, it's not going to happen. Like, give me a break. It's in the money already. Are you kidding me? So I might give up on that strategy on VYM. It just hasn't been working very well.
It's a good problem to have, right? It's not like it's a negative.
True.
So
I am up a lot in VYM right now, by the way. I'm up 22% in VYM, $18,000. That's the reason why it's a problem. I don't want the $18,000. Look, I paid what, $57,000, $58,000 in taxes this year, right? I had to come up with $23,000 out of my pocket because of all the capital gains and dividends and interest income, right? I don't want to realize another $18,000 for next year. That's the reason why it's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to be looking at trying to get out of those VYM calls this week. If not, I think they expire this week, actually. So Hopefully the market has one good down day where I can just buy them back even or even make a little bit of money on them. Michael Kruger. On Wednesday, buy Mark, ETF. Oh, this means RK. I think RK is probably the most common one, huh?
Yeah.
James Begley. I almost said Bagley, but Begley. Yeah, welcome, James. Oh, shit. I saw your wife in here somewhere. I gotta announce her because otherwise she'll cut me. So
yeah.
Naked Amazon. Yeah, you have a naked call on Amazon. Well, I don't remember what I was looking at. It was like 4 up above 4,000 or something like that. It was like $75 for a week. That's not bad.
You can get way up there.
There's no way. Like it would take a big company like that to move that much in a week. Ain't gonna happen. It's like almost like finding $100 bill in the gutter. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I agree. Unfortunately, people want to sprint. That's the problem right there. They want to get rich quick, and they go haphazardly about it, I think. Or they get comfortable, like, oh shit, this is easy, you know. It's like boom, 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 you know, 10 contracts on freaking Roku or something. Yeah. Speaking of Roku, you're not a good time. Yeah, I agree. You don't want to get Roku. Let's see. Tam, let's see. Good evening, everyone. Hopefully the time change didn't mess everybody up. It is a little, we lost an hour of sleep, but I guess we can sleep when we're 6 feet under.
True.
CSP on what you want to own. Back to the basics. True. Do you want to own SOXL? I don't.
No, I don't.
I got 15 contracts on that SOB too because of this split. They expire this week though. I should be fine. But there's stuff that I don't necessarily want to own, to be honest. I don't want to own Beyond Meat. I don't want to own Palantir. But I do have some CSPs on those.
Yeah, there's not a lot.
I'm a little just above basic. All right. I'm just barely out of basic.
Yeah, there's not a lot in mine that I'd like to own.
That's true. Even if it continues to drop, CSP should lower the portfolio cost.
Yeah. If you want to own shares, your premium does lower the cost basis.
I think for that, like we took stuff off. It was our decision, right? And we put stuff back on when the market's been down. Like the market's S&P 500 still, actually, I think the S&P 500 is flat or up for the year now, but the NASDAQ is still down. So I wanted to take advantage of that. So we put stuff back on. Now it'd take a further drop to be tested, right? So I don't know if that's what he's talking about or what. Yeah, my portfolio is up. Like I just hit a new record high in my options account. So I don't know. It is what it is. I'm getting out of PMCCs too. I'm down to 2 left. I got out of the Pepsi. I got out of tea last week as well. Took a loss in that. It was just pissing me off. Tea was up, and the stupid long calls were catching up to the short calls, but it would have taken probably another 1 or 2% maybe up for tea, and I just knew tea was overextended. And sure enough, had I, been like the perfect trade, I would have taken the short call off, or excuse me, I would have taken the long call off, the leap, and then just let the other side bleed off, even though it was in the money. It sold off the rest of the day, but you don't know that it's going to do that. It could have just continued to go up. So I took like $100 loss or something, $200 loss or whatever, to get out of it, to free up that buying capital. I'm trying to get up all the PMCCs. That doesn't mean I'm going to be done with PMCCs, but I don't think I'm going to be getting into multiple PMCCs at once. They just piss me off. They look at me every single freaking day, and they just it's like that game where things pop up and you got to slam them down. It's like that game, It's like peekaboo, bam, It's like they just piss me off. I don't know what it is. I don't like the short calls being spread out through all of my expiries either. And I have to remember, oh, that's a PMCC. It's just, yeah, I don't know. It's a personal thing.
We can tell.
You can? Is that obvious? Welcome, Cody. Good evening and happy spring forward. Yes, it is. Yeah, we got 2 feet of snow sitting out front. For an $8 put, would you need to keep $8,000 cash in account as collateral?
Yes and no.
Put.
If it's a cash
No,
account,
it's
yes.
supposed to be a fourth of it though, and like IB, it's to be a fourth of that.
Right. If
Also,
it's a cash account, yes. If it's a
yeah,
margin account, you probably like in interactive brokers, it'd probably be about
a quarter, unless it's like SPY or something like that. Some things require more than a quarter. I haven't figured out how they determine which ones, but most of the stuff, even TQQQ, is like a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
$2,000 in this case. Tesla and Amazon. HD. Yeah, I think I had it. Do I have a Home Depot on right now? I don't know if I do or not. No, I don't have a Home Depot. I do have a JP Morgan, LMT, Costco. I put another Costco on. I put a MasterCard on. Snow. I did have a Snow Leap last week that I bought. And literally the next day, I sold the Leap, made $700, $730 to be exact, in less than 24 hours. So those leaps can really work for you, especially on a stock like that. I know that Matt Money doesn't really know much about Snow, but to me, I'm an IT guy. Snow is, I just know Snow more than I know Palantir. I don't really even know what Palantir does. I still don't know.
I thought it had something to do with planets.
Yeah, I did too. ARCs. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sold on the ARCs. I'm not going to play Tesla and ARCs at the same time. At least ARC-K. I'm not against ARC-K. It's just I have 2 Teslas on right now. I'm not going to double whammy myself by going in ARC-K too. Disney. Yeah, I haven't been following Disney. I did have Disney stock last year, but they cut the dividend. I'm like, see ya. I was up like $200 or $300 in the stock. Why? I mean, they would have taken like 6 years to get that amount of dividends out of that stock. So why not just sell it?
Yeah, I don't understand how they're trading at such high numbers right now.
That's a good question. There's
I've
some
seen
stocks
people,
that they're still shut down or they're not like back to full capacity, but they're like at 52-week highs.
yeah,
It's like,
it doesn't make sense.
I don't. But Boeing's not back. It's like, okay, Boeing. Honestly, I can almost say last year the stock of a lifetime was Boeing because it wasn't going to go bankrupt. Their federal side was worth more than what the stock was even worth at the time anyway, like $90 or something like that. It got
I was
down.
gonna say it went under 100, huh?
Yeah, it was like
Jeez.
$90, 93 or something like that. That was the stock right there that you could have literally probably stuck in the whole kit and caboodle, right? You could have just went all in that stock and got 100 bagger out of it, 100x bag out of it, or whatever the hell it is, 100%. But I wouldn't say it's too late. It's just not as attractive right now. Matt, let's see. Do you ever look to do more CSPs a monthly expiration stock this week? Since the EFF.
He corrected it down below. We'll get back to it.
Oh, did he? Unfortunately, if I scroll down, I think it's going to jump on me. Let's see if it doesn't. Maybe if you click on the new. Oh, maybe that's the trick. You just scroll down on the elevator. LMT, baby. Yes, I agree. I got one open on it. It was $150. I got out of that sucker for 17 days. Honestly, that's one I wouldn't even mind owning at this price. I think my strike's 310, so I'll take it. Is there any software website you use to screen stocks and then select a strike price for date? If not, how do you select your strike price and date? Well, maybe Gerry does it differently, but I always know the stock's the easy part, in my opinion, right? Because I already have a basket of stocks that I'm already going to do CSPs on, right? I have a list here. It's the biggest companies in the world, and maybe I'll throw in some piece of shit companies in there like Beyond Meat. Maybe we had done Peloton back in the day, but so my stocks, Apple, Facebook, Home Depot, Costco, Visa, MasterCard, Netflix, Tesla, Amazon, like biggest companies, right? So that's how I select the stocks. But as far as the strike, I look at a chart. I look at the probability of the money. I try to figure out right around that 5%. If it's a bigger stock like Amazon, which I have on Amazon, I have an Amazon put on right now. If you look at a chart on that, that was 3.3% probably in the money. I did a 2,600 for a 7-day hold. Okay. Look at a chart. How far does Amazon need to go down to hit that 2,600, right? It has to make a 15% move down in 5 days. Well, really, it was really 5 days because there's 2 days a weekend in there. And I got $279 for that. Okay. So maybe why don't you talk about how you select your strikes, Gerry?
It's pretty close. I play more of the probability game. I do have a watch list in IB that I'm assembling and breaking up into sectors, and that way it shows me exactly what stocks are doing that I'm watching, and then when I see something that's having a down day, I'll check it out. I actually go over to Fidelity and I look at a chart, look at the support and resistance, check if there's earnings. And then IB actually will tell you when you select the strike, it'll tell you the probability of profit at that moment. And I'm looking for anything above 90%. So I'd like it to be 95 to 99% probability of profit. But if it's 90, I'll weigh the option. It's got to be an inflated premium for me to do that. But that's pretty much what I do.
And just for anybody that's not aware, anything over 98% probability is better than birth control. On stuff like Amazon and Google and any of those high flyer, big stake stocks where it requires a boatload of freaking money to take possession of it, I try to get like 3%, 2% probably in the money on those personally. Because I can make $279, right? It's like that's free money, right? That's like finding a $500 bill in the gutter. My Walmart's 130. Yeah, I had a 130. That's one of the ones I took a loss on last week, by the way. Yeah, had I held the damn thing, I'd have been fine too, but it is what it is. I decided to just take it, cut it for, it was a small loss, but it is what it is. You just don't know if the market was going to come back up. So we talked about this right at the beginning of the stream, everybody, if you're just, curious, but yeah. Oh, when's your expiry? So mine expired Friday. So maybe yours expired, at a different time. You're fine, but if mine didn't expire Friday of last week, I probably would have held it too, right? Into this, I would have been fine. But mine happened to expire last Friday, and I just decided to cut it out. Do you ever trade more monthly expiration stocks when you know they expire this week? What's that mean? Do you ever trade more monthly expiration? Oh, okay. I see what he's saying. I don't trade a lot of stuff that just trades monthly, though. Like SPY is multiple times. It's not even a weekly one. ARCG is what? That's a monthly, right?
A lot of ETFs are monthly. A lot of more not so popular stocks are monthly. Most REITs are actually all REITs are monthly, except for the index IYR, I believe it is, which has weeklies. But I
would have no problem with that right there, though. I would take a monthly, and if it only had 1 week left on it, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like trading a weekly.
I do that, because there's some things out there where I don't want to hold. There's some ETFs out there that I don't want to hold for 30 days.
Right.
And so I'll take advantage of the last week, but then you're stuck. You got to kind of forget about that position until another 4 or 5 weeks down the road, right?
In those ones, you normally can't buy it back. You'd almost have to let them expire too.
Yeah.
Because they're going to cost too much to buy it back. Doing some calls next week. That's why I'm not familiar with the first two.
I think that's Synchrony Financial. I don't know what CHPT
I don't know what
is.
CHPT is. Is that ChargePoint?
It might be.
That's probably ChargePoint. I stay away from a lot of that junk. I'm not gonna sit here and blow smoke up anybody's ass. I stay away from a lot of the speculative type of plays.
Yeah. I have a Southern on. I have a Palantir on. Now, James, are you talking about selling naked calls, or do you own this stock?
That's a good point. I wouldn't want to touch any of those except for maybe SO and Starbucks on a naked call side.
Yeah.
Starbucks is not going to jump up that much. Neither is SO is definitely not going to. I bet you those call sides suck on that thing unless you're like right out of the money.
The put side suck too on Southern.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the stock doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I usually put a position on, and I know I break my rule with Southern. There's some things that I break my rule on, like utilities. You kind of have to be in that 80 to 85% range of probability profit to make money on it. But usually they come out fine.
Yeah. Some stocks you just need to go up to that 10 to 15%.
I like how we say it opposite.
When you say positions, are you talking options? Probably. Because I'm not really talking about, I don't think I've even popped up my dividend portfolio as we've been on this stream. So it's probably just all options, positions. Yeah, they're positioned, aren't they? I think they are.
I would call them positions, yeah.
Let's see here. I was ready to store an energy XLE will hit 100. Do you think it will hit 100 per share? That's one you trade, right?
Yeah, I do actually, I do more XOP, but it's almost the same. Do I think it'll hit $100 per share? I don't know. I look at gas prices when I drive down the street, and they just keep climbing, baby. So
I just filled up 91 octane on Saturday, and I filled it up. I was, it was snowing out. It was cold. I'm like, I'll just put in 5 gallons, because I don't really drive that much. I drive like 1,000 miles a year, if that. And that's how come my 15-year-old car only has 92,000 miles on it. So it's just, and I bought it with 50, by the way, but it's, I'm like, you know what? I think gas prices are just going to continue to go up. So let me just fill it up. Summer's around the corner. I probably won't fill this car up for another 3 or 4 months or something like that.
Yeah. So I've been making,
just, let it sit in there.
Yeah. I've been making good money on those put contracts for the energy sector. They're decent premiums on them, but as long as we don't get a rug pull on oil prices, then we're probably okay.
Welcome, Rebecca. Hopefully you're starting to, get into more options with your retirement strategy, or at least, thinking about it. Cody here, anyone buying NVIDIA, like stock-wise, or you talking about option-wise? I had one. I think that's one of the ones I took a loss on, by the way. Let me look.
I looked at it. A little too much buying power and margin impact for me.
No, it's actually not one I took a loss. Wait, no, take that back. I had I closed one out on the 11th for 50% gain. I closed another one out on the 10th for a 54% gain. I thought it took a loss on it, but it must have been one of those ones that came back. Take that back. I did take a loss on it. That was a $600 loss. That's the one I was going to roll, but instead of trying to roll it down and like replace the amount that I had to buy it back for. I decided to break it up because, semis had issues, SOXL, AMD, NVIDIA, they all had issues all at the same time. I'd buy all the chips. Just buy SOXL then. There you go. Or buy a Leap on it or something. Satellite missions. Starlink in there?
Mars exploration?
I'm not excited about Mars exploration at this point. We need to go further. We need to send stuff out. We need to send all these same freaking bots, whatever the heck they're called. We need to send one to the next planet, and we need to send one out to the next planet. The problem is maybe the remote control doesn't work that far, or maybe they're bouncing the controls off of satellites. So, okay, if that's the case, throw freaking more satellites out there further away. Start sending shit out to the next planet. We already know what freaking Mars looks like. Too chicken shit to throw a freaking cockroach on it too. Gaming and let's see. Gaming and automation, yeah. Gaming. Oh, she's talking about NVIDIA.
Yeah.
I guess, you want to talk about your son's experience real quick?
Oh, yeah. You don't have to. He had a graphics card that he bought in December, I want to say, for about $180. He ended up buying the new upgraded version for like $430 this past week, and then he sold his one that he bought in December this week on eBay for $700. Used. And he ended up buying the new better version for like $400. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? But apparently that card that he sold is being used in Bitcoin mining. So
yeah, there's specific graphics cards that are really good for mining. I have completely reset, not aggressive. Yeah, we're right there with you, Randy.
Yeah, he says his losses were from long stock, so I think he did get rid of Tesla.
Why would you have sold it though? Why not just sell cover calls on it?
Yeah.
Even Tesla cover calls, like you can go. That's the great thing about Teslas. Like the cover calls are still worth a pretty good amount of money, probably way above where your cost basis is, or at least at your cost basis. That's my guess, unless you just got it at 800 and something. Oh dang! What's up, Stock Ninja?
Ninja
Man down for the Jesus. Well, you're about 15 months away from that millionaire status there, Randy.
Yeah, he had to get back to Tesla.
Yeah. 300K up for last year, so it works. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Don't get bogged down. Oh, he's 70K down. It's like, you guess what? If you got 70K, now you have gains you can offset that with. So, or it's the other way around. But you got to look at those tax consequences because they're real, especially when you have a 9-to-5 job. You'll make it back, Randy. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. Matt Money is. I don't know about that. We know Matt like on a personal level, and man, he's worse than me.
No comment.
Probably talking about the cocaine and ass crack comment.
Yeah, probably. That's what she was saying. Oh, okay. Yeah.
100K, learn how to trade options. Oh, I agree. I think that pretty much all of us would be doing that. I could probably build up my options count to be more than it is right now and just go that route. And maybe I will. I don't know. But I like for where I'm at in my life to have some coma money too, because I just couldn't imagine trading an options account that large, having a very large and in charge options account. It's already hard enough to manage as it is. The way to manage it would be just go and have like 10x all your contracts, which is scary. But The best thing to do is build it slowly, right? It's like winning the lottery. Anybody that wins the lottery, they're going to go out and spend, spend, spend. That's the reason all broke in 2 years, right? They win, $500 million. They're all broke. They're all broke in 2 years. It's like because they don't know how to manage the money. So imagine having an options account that you build up slowly. You get used to larger losses. You get used to larger gains. You get used to larger contracts. You get used to larger whatever versus just being handed $1 million and then you're starting to throw options contracts out there like, oh shit, I got 100x this guy. You know what I mean? Like it's easier to start out and build it slowly and get used to all those numbers. It works with stocks, by the way, as well. Day trading, same thing, same logic. I was like, who's Nina? Yeah, place starts surgery and COVID. Yeah. Jomer, sell options and drink beer and wine softens the blow. Yeah.
Maybe drink the beer and the wine after. Yeah, after.
Do it after. Don't do it before. I don't know who would be waking up for some people at 6:30 in the morning and drinking beer and wine. Yeah. But for me,
I'm
it's
sure
7:30 in the morning. What do you prefer, weekly or monthly?
Both for me.
I'm not really partial either way. I don't do a lot of long dated stuff because to me it's so much can happen in a freaking that amount of time. I hate that. You're stuck there, I don't want to have money tied up that long.
If you could do weeklies, that'd be nice. But man, it's a lot of management. There are some things that I like to put on that are 3 or 4 weeks out that I can just set out there and just
like realty income.
Yeah, just let it burn, and don't look at it. But
and then there's some stocks like Amazon, which you're not going to put that shit out there for a month. Hell no.
Tesla, same thing.
Tesla, same thing. I wouldn't be putting one of those suckers out there for a month.
I'd only do weeklies on Tesla. 2 weeks is pushing it.
Yeah, I'll do like 10, 14 days. But I know Thumper completely disagrees with this strategy. He loves that long dated shit. Let me see. I've screwed up and hit the wrong button. So I do a combination of both. It just depends on the stock. But for the most part, I don't really go out a month on most things.
Yeah, I do a combination of both as well. But, normally I have something expiring every single week. So
that's true. I like to have about $1,000 to $1,200 expiring every week if I can. That way I can buy back about 70% of it. Let's see, or I guess it'd be 30%, right, for 70% gain. The loss on the long, I don't know what he's talking about. At what point do you have to pay IRS penalty for not paying enough? Oh, let's see. I paid about $1,000 in NIIT tax this year, which anybody doesn't know what that is. It's the Obamacare tax, which if you make too much money, you have to pay the Obamacare tax, which means you're really paying for everybody that doesn't make a lot of money to get subsidies. You're paying for the subsidy, right? The only way around that for me is to get married. So any takers out there, let me know. The other thing is I did pay a penalty this year as well. I paid like $250 in penalties. So for underpayment, that's fine in my opinion.
Not bad.
It's not because it was like $70,000 in gains or something like that. The way I look at it is I can make that $250 right
in a day.
Yeah, exactly. So it just depends. Like I think I can make more money than what the government's going to charge me for that penalty. So that's how I kind of look at it. Let's see here. I'm all about CSPs, but I look at the 1.6 return and get on a 2-week ARC CSP. And I look at various stocks and I could swing trade and grab it quick. Well, You actually think that you're going to be right on your swing trade. That's the problem there, right? You, with the CSP, you don't have to be right to make that 1.6% return. You can be right, you can be wrong. You're still going to make that money. Versus on the swing trade, you have to be right to make that money. Otherwise, it turns into a long-term hold. And then you start finding yourself joining conference calls, figuring out what the fuck happened. How do I know all this stuff? Because I've been down that road. If you're bullish on a stock, like it's sitting at a 52-week low, or it's sitting at a really good support level, look at buying a leap on it. It's worked out really good for me this year so far. I'm pretty happy with that strategy, actually.
Yeah, I got to look more into that too.
Time putting the money into the CSP. Was that a continuation? Let's see. Such a hard. Okay. Grab a. Let's see. But look at various stocks I could swing, trade, and grab a quick 4 or 5% on this market, and have such a good hard time putting money in CSP. Like I said, you're gambling. I mean, like I said, you don't have to be right with the CSP. You have to be right with the other strategy there, though.
Yeah, the way I see it is to do the swing trading, you actually have to put the money at risk. With a cash secured put, you're not putting your money at risk. I hope that makes some sort of sense.
Plus, you give the stock like, I don't know what stock he's talking about, but you could give that sucker like a 10% move down, right? Why not put all that crap in your favor? Your strategy is great if you knew for a fact you're going to make the 4 or 5%, but you don't. That's the problem. Let's see. He had to go there. Roku, yeah. If anybody doesn't know, I came up with a verb out of Roku. We call it Roku'd because it's like an inside joke. Stock Ninja got Roku'd big time, lost a big amount of money on Roku'd from naked calls. So sizing. We've had him on about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he talked about it, I think. If anybody wants to join tonight, let me know. I'll throw the link out there. I know there's a lot more questions I need to get to, but how do you decide on a strike price and expiration date, company like Amazon or Tesla? I look at charts on those sums of bitches. For sure, both on the downside and the upside. So I have 2 Teslas on right now. Okay, so I got a Tesla on that expires 2 weeks from now. That's a 350. You think Tesla's getting the 350? That's a 50% move down. Okay, and how much did I get for that? I got $130 for that. Okay. I got another Tesla for this week that expires. It's a 400. It's still got to make a 42% move down. All right, for $80. So, anyways, that's like free money. So I look at a chart, and I literally go way the F out. So I don't know. Is that a question for you too, Gerry? You don't really trade any of those.
I just go way that. I do Tesla once in a while, but I just go way down there. It's got to make a huge move to do it. Now, that doesn't mean you can go into a plug or Neo or something like that and do the same thing that you would do in Tesla. It's not like that. So those meme stocks can move on you like that. A Tesla will not.
Well, Tesla will move a lot too, but
it'll move a lot.
I feel safer in Tesla because Tesla's not going to go anywhere. And I know people BTFD that thing, right? They might not do a BTFD in like a freaking Peloton or a Beyond Meat or something like that, right? I'm up 13% in the last 90 days, all in ETFs. So I don't know if you're long ETFs or you're talking about options here.
I do play some options on ETFs. I think it's IWM or N. I forget, but they got some pretty good premiums in there. They're at 52-week highs right now. Small caps are crazy.
I'm going to sleep because of an old lady. Wait, so on your off days, you don't try to stay on the same schedule? Because when I was working 4 on 4 off, 12-hour nights, I've always tried to remain on the same schedule my days off. But anyways, she dropped the phone on her face. Show me your face. Go to bed, Rebecca. She just wants to sleep in her new bed. She's already in bed. That's a daily regimen. HM Investor. Are these he's just talking about ETFs in general. Yeah. Not necessary for options here.
Right. There's some of those that are horrible in options, but
Yeah. Jeppy
and not because they're bad ETFs, it's just because they don't have the volume of option interest.
Do you know what the ETF good is? All good. I didn't know you started an ETF.
That is a stock, though. Good is a stock.
Is it? Yeah. It's like Playboy. Yeah.
Cutting you.
Man, I got Stock Ninja to protect me. Noah's going to print. Well, I'm already out of my leap on that, but I am in some. Let me see. How many of those? I think I only have one, actually. Shoot. Expires. Oh, that's a long. See, that's a long one. That expires April 1st. It was 22 days out for $100, $120. So I got a snow put out there. 26% away. It was a 170 strike, by the way, if anybody wants to know. Good move long term. Palantir's is into a lot. Good old government. The government there. Yeah, I hear that a lot from Matt Money. You know, he's like big bull on freaking Palantir. But honestly, I don't know shit about the company. And I like to just go against people too for a reason. I don't know why, I just do. And Matt Money's like, he's the target in this case. So it's just my personality. Sometimes I love to go against the grain, and I've always been like that. So I've been forcing him to get into snow. So, it's kind of like we're having a meme off or whatever the hell they are. Cat looks good.
Cat did look good for a while there for options.
Like, I don't know. Like, Cat's on a major run. At least it had been. Like, that thing's on fire. I think I'm up over 100% in that in my dividend portfolio. Let's see, Caterpillar. Yeah, 115%. And I've been selling some of those. Like, I've been rendering profits out of Cat like the last 3 or 4 weeks. Still up 115%.
This one will get you fired up.
I don't get fired up, Gerry. KOTXMO are candidates for dividend cut. You're just plain wrong there. Sorry. Look, when you're a dividend king or a dividend aristocrat, especially a king, by the way, like that's the last thing. They'll literally lay off their whole workforce. They'll cut 401k match. Those won't give bonuses. They will literally stop putting toilet paper in their freaking bathrooms, whatever they need to do before they cut that dividend. T is at, I think, 54% payout ratio if you go by the way they calculate it. ExxonMobil, no way they're cutting. No freaking way. And honestly, Coca-Cola, they're a king, right? I don't know where Coke's going. It's fucking cancer water, in my opinion. But if anybody would cut here, it'd be Coke. But there's no way that all three of those are going to be cutting. And I don't know what he means. Like, are you talking about cutting in 100 years? Are you talking about cutting in the next year or two?
Yeah, I'd agree. Coke would probably be the one, just because they've had the biggest suffering as far as the pandemic is concerned. T is a cash cow. ExxonMobil, we got oil prices going through the roof, so they're fine now. But Coke,
demand is going to come up. Exploration's down. There's no way ExxonMobil's cutting.
So Coke would be the one because we're not fully open yet. So, and you got a lot of restaurants and stuff that aren't serving Coke.
He's just trying to get under my skin at this point. I actually love the comment. I love the discussion. I love the debate. So, because I would love to hear the reasons why you think they're going to cut. There's people out there making videos on crap like that because they're trying to get the views. So they're going to freaking come with a contrarian outlook on it. But yeah, I don't know. I still love the discussion though. Yes, I look at charts to find support. Yep, that's a good way to go. Why not? It takes 5 seconds. I did a video, or we did a live stream a month ago, a little more than a month ago. I brought up a bunch of stocks and I looked at charts, and that's how I determine where to pick the strike. Sometimes I try to get below that 200 period moving average, depending on where it is, and that's right. Or I try to get below, way below that if I can. But let's see here, James. The day we lose our hour of sleep is the day of highest heart attack rate. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's interesting. I know that, like, I'm probably a good candidate for a heart attack, by the way, because I don't really go outside much. I mean, by the way, the reason I look so pale is just because the light's here. I don't have the dark, the white balance is too high. So, but no, I do take vitamin D, but honestly, in the summertime, I'm not out much anyway. And when I do go out, it's at night. So I'm kind of a nocturnal person. I'm like a cat over here, I suppose. But
Dave's a bat.
yeah. So I'm probably a good candidate for it. Not to mention, I have 2 pounds of bacon every week or so. It's not. I spread it out to 2 weeks now. So, but the bacon's not really the issue. The issue is the lack of sun. So I do take vitamin D. But you know what? Going back to this real quick here, why don't they just get rid of daylight savings time at this point? There's no reason to do it anymore.
Yeah,
I think
it naturally
came out was because of what we're using, like oil and stuff back then, to light houses and stuff. I mean, it's such an old thing, right? And they changed the times over the years too, right? Just not that long ago, it used to be like in April or something we switched, right? And then it was in like November, or it was in October.
Doesn't it naturally change? I'm talking about the.
It does. You're right, because the summers they last longer.
Right.
Solstice, right? What's the opposite of solstice? Or is it solstice for both sides, or is it just one? I don't know. Obviously, I'm not the brightest kid in the block here. I use Interactive Brokers client portal to sell puts. I know they have a profit taker option just before you hit the submit. No, I have not. I don't use the client portal. To me, it's too medieval for me. I want to see what the heck is going on in front of me. The client portal is like, I'm too blind, so I don't use that. But I'm assuming that the TWS has the same option as well, profit taker. I just never screwed with it.
It should.
It does.
Yeah, I don't spend much time on the Interactive Brokers website at all. So
I try to avoid it if I can. Maxim. Do you do options of futures, and if not, why? So you talk about like in the ES, the NQs, and the YMs, and SP 500E minis. I think there's micro minis according to All Good. I used to do futures a lot. I'm not totally against futures. It's just it's a whole different ball game. It's not the same thing as what we're doing here. You're susceptible to news that comes out of the government. You're susceptible to any other markets too. The DAX and the European market, the Japanese markets, all those markets when they close. You're susceptible to, economic news that comes out, or anything that comes out of the White House, anything that got bombed, towers got bombed, like all that stuff. You have to be ready, right? You don't let it set and bake. That's like get in and get out, because a little 10-point move down is like $500 or $1,000 like that in a matter of a second. So it's a whole different ball game, and it's pretty stressful. It takes a while to get used to it. I don't know if I'll go back to doing it or not. I did it for quite a while, is a whole different ball game. I learned it. I learned some new stuff out of it. It was cool, but it was a little more too involved / stressful for me. Anyways, I hope that answers the question. Not an option question, but still want your nuggets of wisdom here. Jeppy versus Nusi. Woo! There you go, Gerry. Safest all-around ETF. I know Dave went hard. Nusi. Just wondering, y'all's been. That's an apples to oranges comparison there, Gerry.
Yeah, they're totally different. But to answer your question of safest all-around ETF, I would have to say Nusi, and that's just because of its downside protection. If you look at last March, Nusi went down like 13%, while the other, whatever went 37-40%. So if that's what you consider safe, is not dropping so much, then Nusi is the way to go. Jeppy, I don't know, man. Both of these are actually way too new, but Nusi, in my opinion, for those that want to preserve capital but still get a good yield and still be in the market, I think Nusi is a good way to go.
That is a tough one to answer. I think the new thing really doesn't matter because they're both new. But so Nusi's puts expire this Friday, so we'll look to see what new puts they put on. Because honestly, this week I was watching Nusi, man, like a hawk, like whatever. I was looking at it every day, the holdings, and making sure they didn't add in more calls or put calls back on, or if they made a change to their put side. But there's days where the NASDAQ was up 2%, and Nusi was barely up, right? I'm like, what the hell is going on here, So it's those damn puts, right? They're holding it back because my guess is the delta's higher on those. The delta kind of expanded and increased in value, or went up, I should say, because of the recent sell-off. So that's just holding it back a little bit. So the more it comes up, that delta should go down, which means it should be going up. And the more the market goes up, the more Nusi will go up. But I'm also curious: are they gonna? My guess is because the QQQs haven't recovered completely, that they're going to go down lower, right? That's just my guess. But the last set they had on was only 4.5% down. So what are they going to do? We're monitoring it to try to get an idea of what they're doing, so we can better understand it and make a decision going forward. Hope that answers the question.
What's charge point?
Gerry has more wisdom than I have. That's just because he's older. Do you own, let's see, micro. Do you do options on futures? What is your experience current? No, we just talked about that all good.
No, she's asking him.
Yeah, she's trying to get into doing futures. So she wants to do the micros. I don't like to be associated with micros personally, but because the minis are, I thought the minis were small, but the micros are like, yeah. Start with the micros. When you sell cash secured puts, what order type do you use? I'm always limit. I never do a market order. I don't even go with the mid price either. I usually go in 5-cent increments, and I know Gerry's messing with some of the strikes and stuff like that, or messing with the prices, because I'm like, who else out there screwing with this strike price on Realty Income? Nobody. There's like no volume out there. It's like it was him. But
I only use limits too. Markets. If you use market orders, you could really screw
You're gonna
yourself.
be in the red immediately.
Yeah, you can really screw yourself.
Futures are interesting. Yeah. Bitcoin. That's a new one.
Do they have options on Bitcoin?
I don't know. I think he's doing Wordplay here.
Mm.
If not, I'd be use it for methanol. Welcome, Jamie. Let's see here. For cash secured puts, you attach orders with interact brokers. No, I don't. No, I don't do any of that stuff. If you weren't watching the market, I'd say that wouldn't be a bad way to go. But to me, it's like I just don't. Yeah, I don't screw around with that any of that stuff. To me, it's
Yeah,
just keep it simple, stupid, right? Kiss.
I'm in front of my computer all day, so I don't need
Not to
to.
mention, I wonder. I don't think my script knows how to do with any of that stuff either right now. So I don't want to put the logic in there, and I'm dealing with that stuff either. Freaking bag. I think it's called a bag order, but let's see here. Or take any options in bonds. Huh? I don't like the word bonds.
Yeah,
Period. Like
that's a
anytime I
bad B
see
word.
that word, it just means they came from Dave Ramsey, or they're over 60 years old, or they probably just heard through the grapevine that you should be in bonds.
Yeah,
I don't think bonds are a good way to go these days until things get back to the way they were in the 90s,
no, they're money losers. But TLT, the ETF, actually does have options, but they're horrible. They're really horrible. So I wouldn't touch it. Especially, I mean, if you get assigned, what are you making, a 1.5% on your money?
Oh, I don't even know if it's that much.
It might be up there now. It's been climbing. That's the 10-year.
The 10-year, yeah, 1.6 maybe. I don't know. But to me, that's pocket change, man. That's pocket change. What cards are good for mining? Cards? Oh,
I think my son might be
that.
able to answer that, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could get rigs for so cheap back during the last bit crypto crash. Like Craigslist, there was so many rigs on Craigslist. Like he was
I know
reason.
my son sold the card he sold was an MSI Vega 56.
A radon.
Radon, yeah. But that means nothing to me. So.
Well, it's Nvidia's competitor, but I don't know if they have a. I don't know who MSI is owned by. I don't know if they trade publicly. Maybe it's owned by MSI, but I don't know. I don't know if anybody knows if MSI is public, or because I don't think they are, or who owns them or whatever. Is it trade on a different market? Let us know. Evening, awesome people. Drizzle my snizzle. Welcome, buddy.
The Thizzle Drizzle Show.
Yeah, dibs. Let's see here. Gerry, Jeppy, or Newsy? We just answered that one.
Yeah.
If you want a little bit of upside, I mean, if you want just strictly upside, you don't care about the downside, then Jeppy's a good way to go. Like I said, it's not really it's like it should be QILD or Jeppy is what it really should be, right?
No, not really.
Shit.
QILD, Jeppy, and Nusi none of them are exactly alike. They're all different and have their nuances. So you really have to.
For anybody that's here, what's the difference between QILD and Jeppy?
Difference between QILD and Jeppy. QILD sells. I might get this wrong because I know they had an index change and I haven't looked in a while, but they would sell only at the money covered calls, and that's it. That's their entire strategy. They are one of their rules is to return 1% per month of the net asset value in the form of a distribution. Jeppy has 80% of their portfolio in a long portfolio. So they assembled a portfolio of stocks in the S&P 500 that are supposed to be lower volatility. And on the 20% side, they invest in ELNs, which are equity linked notes. And I believe in those notes are where it's kind of like a fixed income thing, but that's where they get their income from to pay the distribution along with the portfolio. So they're really completely different as far as, their strategy is concerned.
Well, there you have it, folks. I didn't know all that, so I'm glad that you learned me something. Maybe learned some other people some stuff on that one as well. My biggest issue with QLD is just the fact that it's a little sketchy in what they're doing. They're not just upfront about it. And that kind of drove me nuts about QLD specifically.
Yeah, QLD will kind of make you mad when you dig into it. If you really dig into like prospectuses and what they have on file, because, on one set of paperwork, it'll say one thing, but on another set of paperwork, it'll contradict what was on the other paperwork. So
Yeah,
it really, really kind of makes your eyebrows go.
we scratched our head on that one. You scratched all your hair out.
Exactly.
Let's see. Wait for the cries tomorrow after spending that quick stimmy. Have a job for each dollar. I like that last port. I am in my trading. Let's see. Markets are up 100 points in the YM right now, so they are up. You know what the funny thing about the markets are? 100 points used to be a lot. 100 points is nothing now. Like 100 points up, that's just it's pocket change. Like because the markets are so high, like that's normal now. 100 points, But 5 to 10 years ago, 100 points was unheard of. This is a bad day or a good day. But I really like to have a job for each dollar portion because I've always said that every dollar is like an employee, and I put every dollar out there to work, and that employee is returning something, making something for me. So I like that portion that you said there. Breakfast of Champions, yeah, the good old Wheaties. Did anybody here keep any? I used to keep Wheaties boxes with Jordan on the front. I think I finally threw them away, but
they're probably going for $50 on eBay now.
that's my luck. Yeah, that's my luck. Let's see here. Did you think about automating your options trading? Yeah, I'm running the Theta Gang trading bot. There's a GitHub resource for it if you want to check it out. It's all Python based. I'm running that against a paper portfolio, testing it out. I think something expires maybe at the end of this month. I don't know. I run it once a day though, and it checks criteria. It checks 90%. It checks 90% if it's in profit, or it checks if it's within 15 days of expiry, and then it makes a decision on what to do. It kind of wheels, but it doesn't have to wheel if you don't want it to. But anyways, yeah, check it out if you're interested. It's called Theta Gang. Do you know what checking the price management algo option does when you're selling? I don't know what that does. This option is viewable just before clicking the submit. Well, it depends on how you have your interactive broker set up too, because there's so many different ways to set up your trigger points. You can set up on a single click. You can set up on a double click. You can set it up on, mine's just a single click, buy or sell, that's it. I don't have it setting buy and then submit or anything like that. There's so many different ways to set up, so I don't really know exactly what you're talking about. Price manager algo option.
There's a lot of tools in there, that you can choose from. And, all of them have options that'll show you what they do. But I actually haven't messed with a lot of that stuff. I probably haven't even scratched 5% of the surface of TWS.
Yeah, you got that IB algo adaptive. There's balance. There's I was screwing around with that for a while just to see if it made any difference. But unfortunately, it's like I'm doing this on my own account, and it's like I want to get into this position. I don't want to screw around, and like in the paper account it's not really valid on a paper account because IB doesn't put their paper account like the the prices in there are like delayed, and it's hard to get an order fill in there is what I'm basically saying in your paper account, because it's delayed and they don't really, it's not really meant for that. It kind of is, but it kind of isn't. So they don't put a lot of priority or anything in there in the fills or anything. So it's almost like it's hard to test that even in something like that. But anyways, I don't know if I probably botched that question. Oh, just noticed the candle in the background. I like it. Yeah. Thank you, all good. I try to look like Matt Money here. We're having a question about weekly versus monthly CSPs. I like doing monthly puts on less volatility stocks because they have more open interest. RK is a good example of this. I completely agree with that. Of course, RK only had monthlies for a while.
Yeah, they just recently changed.
Yeah. Yeah, I pretty much follow that strategy as well. Let's see here. D said you are showing out. What's showing out mean? Showing out. I'm not sure what that means. Say hi for me though, Tam. Palantir to the moon. Palantir to the moon. Snow to the moon, baby. Snow to the moon. Yeah. I own puts. I don't care. Go to the moon. See, options income strategies are making money way too slow. 2 weeks ago, you mentioned a fast income, get rich quick channel. Did I? I don't think I did.
Option income strategy making money way too slow. Too fast income.
I don't know if who.
Well, no. Well, I think what you're talking about, there's channels out there that are, there's a lot of YouTube channels out there that are just pushing this penny stock, that penny stock, 10x your money this, 100x your money that, and that's what we're talking about. It's just playing on that mindset to try to get rich quick, to get views. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
Companies that they're highlighting, they have no idea if they're going to go 10x or 100x or go bankrupt. They literally don't. A lot of them are putting horrible, actually, information out there for people to follow, and it's pretty sad.
There's a big market for that, though. Those people are so hungry for that information. Like otherwise, how can you go from 3,000 subs to over 200,000 subs in 3 months? Okay, Keenan Grace did that. All right, and that's what he's pushing. He's pushing Neo. He's pushing that type of junk, right? Like, I'm not saying Neo is not a play. Like, I don't play it personally, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't. It just there's so many people that want to get rich quick. They don't want to go through the process to make the money. Get rich slow. They're going to get poor fast is what's going to end up happening. They're going to blow their account up most likely. It's all penny stocks. You think penny stocks are like the slime of the slime. They're the worst of the worst. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just it's a game, and you have, unfortunately, as a retail trader, you're behind the 8 ball at this point. Is that the right?
The making money way too slow. So if you made 2% a month, you would consider that way too slow? Because that's 24% a year, which is pretty much killing everything.
And it's easy to do. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed pretty much. I'm not going to lie.
Now, of course, you could get into a meme stock, and it could take off like GameStop, or it couldn't. So, I mean,
well, in this case here, what's going to end up happening is you're going to be in and out of a penny stock. You're going to take a loss on a bunch of penny stocks. You're going to find one that runs. You're going to make a bunch of money on it just to wipe out all those other gains that you made. Excuse me, all those losses you made, right? The losses you took. All those losses you took, it's just almost like day trading options in a way too, because I had a friend of mine that used to day trade options, and he was addicted to it. He was looking for that home run play, right? And he's called them lotto plays, where he bought them for 5 cents and they'd explode like 1,000 bagger, you know what I mean? But Meanwhile, he took, 3 weeks of losses. So that one big gain took all those losses out, But it's almost like a heroin freaking shot or something. Like he's on crack cocaine or whatever is what it reminds me of, because that's almost like what it is. You're looking for that big move up, and it's a spike in adrenaline. I don't know what it is, because I've never done any drug in my life, but I honestly don't know what channel I mentioned. I got a friend of ours, Informed Trades. I can put his link in the channel if you want. He does a lot of that type of stuff. If you're interested, follow his channel. Keenan Grace, maybe, right? He does that type of stuff. But all they're really doing, they don't even trade this stuff usually. They're not even getting into this stuff. But there's such a market for it. They're taking advantage of it, just like Gerry said. They're getting views off it. They're making a lot of money off of it. But unfortunately, it's almost like you're like the drug dealer in a way, right? So you're filling a need here, because there's a lot of people that need that drug, and they're just the drug dealer. By the way, on this one, if I really said it during a live stream, you just go back and watch the previous stream. It's somewhere in there then. But like I said, if you want to know those other channels, I can put the links in there. Do you use bull put spread credit spreads, or you use only? Yeah, I don't do spreads. We've talked about this many times. I don't do spreads just because I like to be safer than what the spread would get me, plus make more than what the spread would get me. Like I said, mentioned many times, we know why people use them. And of course, he's mentioned the other reason here, but limits the losses. I don't know. See, like I said, I don't think it really does, though, because you have to be more aggressive to make the money, right? So to me, there's a less chance of my strike getting hit because I'm way further out than where your spread is. So I don't really look at it that way. I look at it a different way. But so I think the only real valid reason to use the spread is if you have a small account, really. I think you would pretty much agree with that, don't you, Gerry?
Yeah. I don't like getting into a trade where it says, okay, you can lose this. It's like a cash secured put there. You don't have to take the loss because you have options.
We talk about this almost every week because somebody does bring it up, but you could roll the spread too.
Yeah.
But yes, come on. You got the only real reason to use a spread, in my opinion, is really just because you have a small account. But he does have a valid reason. I'm not going to deny it here. Catastrophic happens. How often does that happen, right? Now, if you're playing a spread on like a game stock, that makes sense. But on most things that we're playing options on, there's no reason to use a spread unless you have a small account. But game stock, that'd be a good example to use a spread. Hope that makes sense. Andrew, let's see. What's that mean? Levels?
I don't know. 2 of 5 technicals do you use?
Yeah, I don't know.
Level of support, yeah. Support resistance. Last night drop.
Is that what he's
yeah, I'd look at after hours earnings if they dropped.
So he's talking about using TA. I do use TA because I use TA more than I use fundamentals personally, because I came from that background in stocks before I became a dividend investor. I don't really, honestly, use TA for entry points, right? Use fundamentals for picking a stock to begin with. But I use, Ichimoku Cloud. I use stochastics. Sometimes I use a MACD because that'll at least tell me when it's flopped the other way. If I'm day trading options or even day trading stocks, I use an ADX. I'm a big fan of Fibonacci's, but none of these things are foolproof. I love the moving averages, 250 and 20s, the death cross, the 2050 cross. I like all that stuff. None of them are foolproof, though. None of them. And most of them are all lagging indicators as well. except for the cloud. The cloud's actually a forward-looking indicator. I think the only thing I would say on that is if you're ever going to use a technical indicator, you want to maybe use one or two. I'm sorry, more than one. Learn a couple of them, but don't learn one that's an off the wall one, because there's so many people looking at the indicators, like the most common ones. It's more likely to make a move off that indicator, right? Than some off the wall one. I can't even come up with one, like popped cherry indicator or something, right? Like that's just one I made up right now, right? And nobody's heard of it. So that means not many people are looking at it, which means it probably wouldn't make a big move off that indicator, right? So anyways.
In other words, don't try to build a better mousetrap.
No, all you need is a piece of wood that has a little snapper on it, cuts the head off. Let's see, invest to retire. Do you balance selling? Did I answer that one fully? Let's see here. Yeah, I use 200. I use all the EMAs, by the way, 220 and 50s. I love those. The time frame matters too. I think most of the time I only care about a daily chart. I look at a daily chart most of the time. If I was day trading, I would look at a 1 minute chart. Do you balance selling options across different sectors? Yes, I do. I don't really have like the selection of stocks on my watch list for options. I don't go in there and say, okay, this is a real estate, this is a staples, this is a communication sector. I don't do that. But I do have a basket of stocks in there that are across a bunch of different sectors. And I always try to have on, a lot of these same stocks on week to week. You know what I mean? So it automatically covers that for me. A lot of it's tech, but I've been trying to diversify a little bit out of tech recently because of the tech wreck. And so I think try to hedge against the sector. Yeah, I think I pretty much answered that. What about you, Jerry? You doing the same thing?
Yeah, I haven't been, to be honest with you, but I'm paying more attention to it now. And I have started assembling my watch lists broken down by sector in Interactive Brokers. And but to be honest with you, it's hard to balance that, because sometimes there's a sector that's just freaking ripe for selling options into, right? So you'll usually end up pretty heavy in one, right? So but usually, yes, I try to have a bunch of different sectors going at one time for sure. And ETFs will do that for you too.
True. This is a good question though, because I think that we both added this to our set of rules, or ever growing list of rules, right? Like they never get shorter.
No,
you ever take a rule off, right? It always gets fixed or adjusted or added to, and this tech wreck here. We came up, you probably want to diversify a little bit outside of tech, right? That's a weak point. So that's a good point. The Wall Street Bets guys are building a storyline that has BlackRock paying off the national debt. Interesting. Citadel. I think they're a famous short seller, if I'm not mistaken. Activist short seller, Citadel is. Holding the bag, GameStop to 10K, followed by I don't know about that, man. I'll be buying some puts. Of course, I looked at buying a put the last this week, back when it was above 300, and I guess they're just too expensive. But
yeah, I was looking at it too, and I'm like, I ain't gonna touch it.
I really just need to take that off the platform.
Yeah. Can we block tickers?
Just don't put them on there. Are you talking about on the scanner?
Yeah.
Yeah, throw the market cap higher.
Yeah, but I threw the market cap higher, and then GameStop popped up there. I'm like, where'd you come from?
That's a good question, whether or not you can. You just don't trust yourself, do you?
No, I gotta get that away from me, man.
Let's see here. Explain the TQQQ long put for protection, please. I'm not doing a long put on it. I'm doing a short put on it. So I don't know if you misunderstood me or if you're asking it about a different strategy than what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're not buying the put. We're selling the put.
I
So
would buy the puts though. Or I wouldn't mind. I don't mind owning the stock either, right? So that's the reason why I'm selling the puts, right? Because I don't mind owning that at 35, right? But I think for me, Matt Money has talked about this, by the way. If the market does have a 35% pullback, I'll be buying some TQQ leaps probably,
yeah,
or I'll buy the stock. I don't know. I haven't made a decision yet, but I'll definitely go long on it. So I hope that
I'd probably buy the leaps at that point because you could probably buy
hedge,
more with
not
little.
hedge. You can leverage and you can leverage on leverage, right?
Right. Exactly.
Let's leverage the leverage here. Yeah, hope that answers the question. Leaps are great. Made 400+% off of Ford. It'll strike leaps. Bought for 80%. When did you buy it, Matthew? I'm just curious. Did you buy it last year or did you buy it recently or what? I mean, Ford's one of those stocks where because I came from 2008, the issue back then, it was just always fresh in my mind that they could go bankrupt. So this time I really didn't play it either. They didn't drop as bad this time as they did in 2008, though.
Yeah, I wasn't into options when this was happening, but I was waiting for it to hit the $3 mark, and I probably would have bought some, but it never got there.
So I'm just curious when he got into them now at this
Mhm.
point. But that was a good example there. The only thing is because you and I and Stock Ninja, we had a basket of stuff we were going to buy leaps on, right? ExxonMobil, GE, CCL, and this is kind of all before they all took off, right? We knew they were all like, all that matters is they're not going to go bankrupt, right? We know they're all going to recover. It's just, we didn't get into GE fast enough. We didn't get an ExxonMobil before it took off. We all got into CCL, at least I did. I think Stock Ninja did, because we knew that they weren't going to go bankrupt and they were going to recover. So there's plays like that work. They're going to work. They're going to print for you. There's not a lot. Pepsi would probably be an okay one to do a leap on. Basically, my top 5 stocks I just did a video on.
Yeah, check
You
that
could probably
video
do
out.
leaps in almost all those and probably actually work out in your favor. Jeez, tongue twister here. All AT&T has to do is buy back shares, which net them. Yeah, they're not they're not cutting that dividend. They're just give it. So AT&T needs to get over. No, excuse me. AT&T needs to change their sentiment on their stock because people are stuck with AT&T over the last 5 years of the stock doesn't go anywhere. They have too much debt. What else? I mean, it's all that crap to combine. They're old school. They have 2-year commitment agreements. This whatever. Blah blah blah. We have to get over that. They have to convince all those people that have that mindset that that's going away because it is. It's all going away. You just have to give it a little bit of time there. I know that they spent like $23 billion or something like that on that 5G spectrum. It's a little bit more than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be 15 billion, but it is what it is. It's part of the game. You need to get in that spectrum. I think Verizon spent way more money on it, by the way.
Yeah.
But you have to just give AT&T some time, and they're going to change people's minds. They will change it, and all those people, they're going to be kicking themselves because you could have got the stock, in the 20s, and it's like, and they're going to be buying it in the 50s. So it just give us some time. It's going to be a while, but yeah. I could be wrong.
Or is it Memorex?
Is this live? Yeah,
Or
this
is
is
it
live.
Memorex?
Ask me a question. I'll answer it live. What's Memorex?
You don't remember?
I know what Memorex is, but where are you getting that from?
That was their tagline. Is this live or is this Memorex?
Oh, I don't remember that. Jeez.
Dang. That must be older than you then.
No, it's not older than me. I was probably screwing around a computer playing Leisure Suits Larry or something. Bacon is good for you, keto. Yeah, I'm keto, baby. I'm trying to get good old Gerry here to go to keto. He's already lost like 7 pounds just in water weight from cutting out carbs or at least reducing them,
Reducing them, yeah.
except for the fries you had yesterday. As you know, premiums go up and down for cash secured puts. When you decide to sell CSP, how do you avoid selling a low premium for the day? Any tricks? I don't really care about that, honestly. Um, it would be good to wait around for a down day in that stock, but I think you're just going to end up losing too much money of waiting around. Like, oh, okay, I waited around for a week. It never went down. You could have, meanwhile, it probably went up. You could have just printed, right? So, yeah, I do try to take advantage of down days, though, right? But I don't try to wait around for them. That makes any sense.
Well, I think he's talking intraday though. So I look at I look at the 1 minute chart, and if they're going down, that could be a good time to go in. So I don't know. I think I picked that up from Dave, but
I don't do that on every stock, though. I do pull up a 1 minute chart. As a matter of fact, when I just click on the ticker, it'll pop the 1 minute chart up automatically for me. And if I see it, trending down, it's been trending down for the last 2 hours or whatever, that's better than it being up, right? So, I mean, I don't wait around for the bottom of the market. If you're doing that, like if you think you can time the bottom, then why don't you just day trade, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like you can't. That's the problem, right? Because if you can do that, then you'd be a good day trader. The problem is you can't. Nobody really can. And anybody that watches the video where they're talking about technical analysis and stuff, like in a video, like, oh, yeah, do this, there's 50-20 cross right here, and that's the reason I bought because it went up. And the reason why anybody can quarterback a trade after the fact. All right. I can sound like a smart dude. I can sound like Einstein probably quarterbacking a trade after it's already been printed, left of the screen. Okay. Anybody can do that. It's what's right of the screen that you can't predict or anything. You don't know what it's going to do. So just be aware of that when you're watching a technical analysis video. Daylight savings time should die. It should. It's old. We don't need it anymore. Especially if it's killing a bunch of people. Winter and summer solstice. So they're exactly the same. That's the same name, huh? Equinox, is that the other name for it? Or just talking about the REIT?
I was actually back in the mid '90s. If you could look this up on like Wikipedia, it was a product distributor, like multi-level marketing company that
Hang on a second. Let me correct you, Gerry. Here, you mean in an encyclopedia?
No, Wikipedia. You can look it up on.
It didn't exist in the '90s.
But it's in there. I'm just saying the story's there.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's the multi-level marketing thing where you can, you get somebody on down your line and they get 4 people and they'll sign up and they're all under you and blah, blah, blah. Well, they went out of business and got sued. And
are you talking about like a Amway or something?
Like that, yes.
Okay. A Jewelway and an Amway.
Yeah.
The funny thing is Amway still exists. I met this girl at a gym one time, and I'm like, we kind of hit it off, and I'm like, oh yeah, she wants to live out in a rural area. She likes horses, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And then she's like, yeah, she's all into investing and stuff. I'm like, oh, this is cool, And then she's like, yeah, why don't you come meet with me, And it's like, yeah, I'm like, any chance to meet with you and, look at you some more, right? And then I go there and she's like, okay, this is what we do in this. She's talking about like businesses and stuff. And then it's like after 3 or 4 meetings, and then it comes out as Amway. I'm like, oh my God. The respect level went from here down to here. I'm like, I couldn't even date you at this point, despite your nice ass. But Dave, what are you investing in the I don't get a stimmy check. Oh, he's just kidding anyway. Yeah, I don't get one. I pay a bunch of taxes for all you people that do get them, though.
Thanks, Dave.
He's busting my balls is what he's doing here. Daylight savings has really without logic. It made sense when it became when it got instituted. It doesn't anymore though. Tennessee's a 2 time zone state. What other states are 2 time zone states? Kentucky? No, Kentucky doesn't, because that runs into Virginia. Tennessee for a fact. I don't know. Maybe Michigan is. Maybe not. Michigan's probably all East Coast, huh?
Probably.
Why should places that already 1 hour ahead of where they should be move ahead another hour? Doesn't make sense. Because every other state moves ahead except for Arizona, which is an FU state. They said, fuck you, we're not going to participate. So they don't. So they follow Mountain Time part of the year and they follow Pacific Time part of the year. But they don't change, though. So that's the only reason they changed the Mountain and Pacific Time is because everybody else changes. But they just need to get rid of the whole thing to begin with. The problem is it's a software change, you know. It probably would cause a boom because that's part of the reason why, the 2000, not the financial, it was the tech, right? The tech boom happened was because of Y2K, right? Y2K was a big thing.
Yeah.
I was on call that night, and I remember exactly where I was. But that night and that whole week, and just we had to put a patch on our computers and stuff back then to account for it, right? But you'd have to make a software change on your phone. You have to make a software change on every computer to account for that, to get rid of it. But I think it's a lot easier to do now. They just need to get rid of it. Problem is I don't know. Why don't they? I don't know. It's probably some stupid reason why they don't, but no options on Bitcoin. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think GBTC has options either, so I haven't looked. Regarding my questions earlier, when you sell cash secured puts, what order type do you use? Market or limit? Why is market order dangerous? Because there's a big spread usually between the bid and the ask, right? Sometimes some stocks could be like $1. If you're doing leaps, it's like $6 sometimes, right? If you do the market order, you're going to literally, and you're doing a buy, right? You're doing a buy, it's going to take the ask. If you're doing a sell, it's going to take the bid immediately. It's not going to do the mid price. And you can normally, with what we're doing limit order, we even fudge that even more. Like if we're selling, we're going to go higher than the mid price, right? If we're going to be buying it back, we're going to go lower than the mid price, and we're going to walk it up. So we're getting we're making like every cent is $1. Every 5 cents is $5. Imagine if it was $1, right? That's $100. That's the reason why.
Yeah. You see, I mean, one of my stocks that I have a put on right now is Zillow right now. And the spread on that right now is 67 cents and $2. Now, if you were to just sell it at market, you'd get $67. But if you were to go somewhere in the middle, I mean, there's somewhere in there that you are that you are missing out if you do a market order, unless there's only a penny difference.
Well, what if you did a market order on both sides? You are missing out on a boatload of money.
Right.
Boatload of money. Not just one side. If you did it on when you sold it and you bought it back, number one, if you do it when you're selling to open a put and you do a market order, most likely as soon as it fills that market order, you're in the negative immediately. Okay? So because most of the prices are based, I believe, on the mid price, but it could be based on the last price too. I don't know.
So the limit order is doing limit orders is really you trying to maximize and be as efficient as you can in making money.
I think the only exception here is, and this isn't really relative to your question, but for anybody else that's listening, if you're day trading options, you're buying options, you're not day trading, cash secured puts. Okay. If you're actually day trading options, you would use a market order. Okay, because you want to get in right there, right then and there, because you're looking at charts. Excuse me, you're looking at technical indicators. You know it's going to make a move. You get into it right there. You don't want to wait around, and you want to sell it immediately as well. So that's, and it doesn't matter because you're usually deep in the money or right at the money, pretty high delta. So the spread is not very high anyway. It's like usually just a few cents. So it's not really even valid. But for what you're talking about right there, market order, you're hurting yourself big time if you're going to use market order. Is it Motorola or is that just a different name?
That would be interesting. Motorola. Wow.
Is it Motorola or is it, because I've never heard Motorola ever call Motorola Roto-Rooter. I've never heard of Motorola Solutions Incorporated ever called. You ever heard Motorola called Motorola Solutions Incorporated before? Is it the same company?
I wouldn't imagine another company being called Motorola.
Yeah, me neither.
We need to go back to brick phones.
Yeah, carrying a suitcase around.
Mm-hmm. I think we
What does
pretty
the
much
limit order
answered
mean
this.
really for a newbie when selling cash secured puts? Does it mean that I can get a higher premium than the market value? Yes. How do you do it? This goes for when you buy a stock too, by the way. Stock has a bid and ask, right? If you do the ask, it's going to take the higher price, right?
Yeah.
That's
You have
what you're
to you
buying.
have to
You're buying at the high price. And when you sell at the low.
you have
Bid
to
and ask.
realize that this is a stock market. So when you say market, it's essentially a big ass auction, right? So you're actually going to, if you're selling something, you're going to the buyer and negotiating your price. Same thing with selling stocks, buying stocks, same thing with options. You're negotiating that price and you want to do that.
The spread is how the market makers make money as well. So otherwise, I mean, if there was no spread, then that actually would change up things quite a bit in our favor, right? But that's the reason why arbitrage doesn't work as well. Because otherwise we could just go and buy the ask here, and maybe somebody over here has a lower ask or a higher ask or whatever, right? We can sell immediately, but no, you have to take the ask. You have to take the bid price. So it makes this the exact same thing if you're going to buy stocks as well. There's no difference there. The difference is, I guess, is there's probably a bigger spread on options, but depending on the game stock options, I honestly haven't really looked. I don't think I've ever popped their options chain up.
I have. Juicy premium. That's all I can say.
I have GME options minus the M, so he has GE.
GE's doing a split.
Yeah, they're reverse splitting, right?
Yeah.
So was it just about 4 months ago, we almost bought GE when it was back at what, like $3 or $4?
$4, I think it was, or $5 maybe.
Because we knew it's already depressed at this point as much as it was really going to depressed. They've already cut out all the business segments that they wanted to cut out. You know, it's like, this is the time to get into it. They're not going to go bankrupt at this point. Like, it was just, it should have been we should have bought a leap on it. I don't know why we didn't. We're dumb. I'm dumb. What strategy used when submitting a cash secured put and doing a limit order and selecting this? Did we already answer that?
Pretty much.
It sounds like this is the third question, same question. It's just worded differently, which is messing my head. I'm selecting the limit price. Like, I don't know what platform you're using, but a lot of platforms, real platforms, have mid price. If it's $1 bid and it's a $2 ask, it'll have a mid price of $150. That's a good place to start. But like I said, I try to maximize even more than that because it only takes a few seconds to do.
Yeah, so if it's at $2, you walk it down to $1.95, see if it fills. If it doesn't, walk it down to $1.90, see if it fills. If it doesn't, walk it down to $1.85. And you keep doing that until you don't want to buy it anymore. Or you don't want to sell it anymore.
And if you pick the $1.50 and it fills immediately, you probably could have got a better price.
You lost money. Yeah. If any of your options contracts, when you hit submit and they fill like that,
Yeah.
you probably lost money.
If you're not using a market order.
If you're not using a market order.
If you're using a limited order and it fills immediately, you probably could have got a better price.
Yep.
And then you're going to be kicking yourself because you're like, oh, man. I could have gotten rich off of GMEM options. What's GMEM?
Minus M, GE options.
Oh, GE. Okay. What's 553?
Did he have 553 calls?
Jesus. Got big bucks over here. 13 calls that I paid basically 18 cents for.
How long did you hold them?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, what was the price when he got into it, I guess is the question. Yeah. Was it 553 contracts? Please answer MD question. We already answered that all.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me beat this horse. Greetings all. Welcome, War Knights. I think we've talked on the Thursday night Discord thingamajigger.
Warren's been around.
Enrique, we have Amazon weeklies have a high gamma risk. Doesn't that bother you? You know what? I don't even know what gamma is. I know it's a Greek, obviously, but I don't even know what gamma is. I don't look at Greeks. Delta would be the only one I probably would look at. I used to look at theta back in the day. I don't really care about that anymore either. I do look at delta occasionally, but it really depends.
I thought gamma had something to do with the sun.
Yeah. Well, all of them are kind of connected together in a way. You know, you got Vega, and they're kind of connected together to get you. All the other ones are kind of built off of that. Whatever, probably the IV or something. But I don't really look at them. I don't think it's really necessary. Keep it simple, stupid. You could buy back the monthly with a portion of premium earned instead of waiting for the weekly to expire without the high gamma. Let me break this one down. Weeklies have high gamma risk. Doesn't that bother you? Yeah, I don't look at it like that. I look at it like the stock could make a big ass move in a month. That's how I look at it. But I think that what he's saying here, I think it's a he. It's Enrique, right? Enrique Iglesias. I think this is what Thumper talks about. He just never mentions gamma. I think this is exactly what Thumper always talks about, or at least he takes into account. But I don't know for a fact. It sounds like if you want to come on the stream, let me know. I'll bring you on. If anybody wants to come on, let me know. Let's see. I have 100K in a savings account without using any margin. How would each of you personally safely utilize? Just get in a solid company, or just sell Cascade puts on solid companies you wouldn't mind owning. We got to throw that caveat in there, but
large caps.
Yeah, large caps. You know, the Apples, the Microsofts, the Facebooks, the Googles, the Amazons, Netflix. LMT, you want smaller companies, LMT, Cisco, Intel, IBM, Visa, MasterCard. Yeah, that's what I would do. Let's see, I thought TQQ was they meant for long. It's not. It's not. It's good for quick moves, but if the market's dropped 35, 40% or more, the market's going to V-shape up, right? It's going to recover at least 20% quickly, so you're going to take advantage of that. It's definitely not a long-term hold. I don't know. I know Matt's talked about it, but he's not doing a long-term hold right now. I don't think, but to me, it's best for a quick move. That's best effective. Let's see here. I read somewhere that TQQ gains and loses are daily. Yeah, exactly. If you went up 5% a week and do not actually gain the 5%, yes, exactly. It bleeds off. I'm talking about owning the shares, not options. Same thing. That's the reason why it's not a good long-term hold. Best options book to read. Best TA books to read.
People read books?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a reader. I'm not a book reader. I hate books unless they have pictures in them. And fortunately, they're trying to ban all those books. So, Green Eggs and Ham and stuff. That's up my alley. But I mean, honestly, I've read a couple of books in my life. I could probably count on one hand how many books I read cover to cover probably in my life. But I'm not good at reading. Reading is my mind kind of drifts off into other areas, and I can't remain focused. I'm such a visual person, so why would you want to read a book on either one of those when you can just watch a YouTube video? You know what I mean? Tasty trade. That's just me. Like, you got like graphics, you got real. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
I'm sure there's books out there though. You just got to search Amazon.
Yeah, there's books, but I'm not the right person to be asking for that though. Let's see here. The best day traders like Ross. I don't know who that guy is. Probably use volume and price action and only trade stocks that are above volume weighted. Yeah, everybody has their own method. Just because somebody uses that method doesn't mean that's going to work for you. Doesn't mean that's the reason why they're successful, is because they're using that particular method. They might just have a knack for it to begin with, right? It only takes like one bad trade, or only takes one bad blown up account to jack your mind up. Like, that's the reason I say, I sold this and for it to go up for everybody else, right? Or I got into this, watch out, everybody, it's going to tank for you guys now, right? The reason I say that is because that seems to be true. But everybody else says the same thing, right? So if I'm going to get into a stock, that really means I should go short on the stock, right? Like, if I'm going to go long on a stock, I'd reverse psychology myself. That means I should go short, right? I don't know. It's a weird way of looking at it, but they all have their own thing that they do. I don't honestly think that anybody has an edge beyond what everyone else could come up with. The thing with the edge is, in my opinion, the stock market's always changing, right? It's constantly changing. So even if they had an edge, it's not going to remain an edge. It's going to go away, right? I'm going to just use sell in May and go away until after Labor Day. That whole saying has not worked the last many years. Like the last 3 or 4 years, it has not worked. But it did work back in like 2011, 12, 13. It worked. Let's see. What up, guys? Hey, Investing Sensei. Let's see here. Can you please make sure this? Let me see. Can you please just find it? Yeah, it's as soon as we cut it off, it'll get uploaded automatically, and you just rewatch it. Wheel strategy for the win. I don't wheel, but I like the strategy.
As long as it's on quality stocks.
Yeah, I agree. I can't say that Investing Sensei is doing quality stocks for me. Like, I think he's doing like NIO and Palantir, which I don't want to own those, but maybe he's not. I don't know. I don't always speak for Investing Sensei, but I think wheel strategy also works good in a retirement account. I don't have any cash in there. Rate of change of delta. Yeah, I don't know. It could be. Probably is. I don't see why that matters though when my delta is so low. It's like, 0.05. So it really doesn't matter that big. It's not really that big of a deal. If you're day trading options, that matters. Let's see here. When you're buying in options, I think it makes more sense to look at the Greeks. I 100% agree. If you're day trading options, it makes most sense. If you're, yeah, I mean, that's a tough one because if you're buying options, I don't really. If I was buying options, that'd be because I was a day trader or maybe a 1 or week hold or 2 week hold. I wouldn't buying like my leaps. I don't look at them. Do you look at the Greeks on your leaps? Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to probably. What I look at on my leaps are is I kind of try to just juggle the cost of the leap versus how much I want to spend and what strike and all that. That's really what it comes down to me.
Yeah.
But I agree, Richard. If I was day trading options again, I would be looking at the delta specifically because I want something that's high delta. So I'd probably go right at the money or deep in the money, getting in and out. I'm talking about like a 5 minute hold, a 10 minute hold, something like that. Not talking about like days. I'd be making some juicy weekly income with 150K for sure. You're already so Investing Sensei actually makes pretty darn good money with the account size he has. It gets 40K or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. Go take a look at his channel. He's got videos up on it. Green eggs and spam. Green eggs and Vegemite.
Spam has some new flavors out.
You ever smelled or you ever tried Vegemite?
No, I never did.
Well,
I didn't even think that was real until I actually saw it.
People are smuggling that crap back too. When I was in a hostel in Australia, they like bought like it was like Jif jars of the shit, and they were bringing it back to their country. It's like, and we went past a Vegemite factory, you know, and you can smell it. Like, oh my, it's not a good smell. It reminds me of like a beer factory. If you ever been past a beer factory, the hop smells like shit.
Yeah, I lived when I first moved here, I lived near a winery or like a processing plant, and I was like, what the hell is that smell?
Yes, hops.
It was like because it reminded me as a kid going to the dump. And that's what the dump smelled like.
I haven't smelled that smell in a long time.
I was like, that's what the hell that smells like? That's it's like we're drinking this stuff.
That's the yeasty smell, right? Hops / yeast or whatever the hell it is.
Smelled like a straight dump.
I used to I went and did a job at it was at an Anheuser-Busch, and oh man, that smell, like, it's nauseating. Like, there's not a lot of things that nauseate me, like smell wise, but that's one of the smells that would nauseate me. And I think sauteed mushrooms is another one that would do that. Do you XOXL for chips or XO? What does that mean?
I think you're speaking in code to you.
No, that's not XO. Yeah, I don't know. That's not code. You have to clarify on that one, Tim. Let's see. I have 100K. What are you? This is the fourth time? I have 100K in savings account. If it were you selling cash secure puts, what kind of income or ROI would, I don't really look at that. I know a lot of people do. Thumper's Thumper always says that. You're risking $30,000 to make 0.05%? He always says that crap to me. And I don't care about the ROI personally. I care about, I'm making $500, or it's not 500. I care about making that $70. I care about making the $100 because that all adds up. That all adds up at the end of the week and month, right? I don't look at it as I'm risking $30,000 to make $100. I don't look at it like that.
Yeah, but I think 2% is fairly simple and easy. 150,000. So what is that? 30 grand a year? Or is that too much? No, that's right.
Well, what 10% would be
wait,
DK. No. So 20% would be 30K.
Yeah.
So what's 2% would be more than that? Wait, 24K, right? Or 24%?
Wait.
24 plus 12.
Yeah. There you go.
What's that?
36.
Yeah. Your top 3 tips for selling puts for a beginner. Stocks you want to own,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like should we even say that? What if you want to own like freaking Beyond Meat and shit? Stay with large cap stocks, I guess, when you begin. Mega caps, large cap, the Microsofts, the Apples, the Facebooks. Start with those.
Don't chase premium.
Yeah, don't chase premium.
Check earnings.
Definitely check earnings.
There's a lot of people out there that'll sell into earnings. I do
Don't
not.
do it. Don't do it. There's no reason why you need to do that. You need more advanced play. Is there any other ones? Keep the contracts low. Start with 1. Learn the mechanics of how to put a trade on. I'm sure there's a lot more stuff in there. We did talk about, I don't know. I think that touches most of it, but don't freak out either if it goes against you. Don't get aggressive on your strikes either. Try to be safe on them. Who reads books? Sad face. Reading a finance book and listening to you guys. I couldn't even read a book if it was just me sitting in a dark room, let alone listen to somebody too.
I think the last book I read was American Sniper, maybe.
Last book I might have read was Mouse and the Motorcycle. No, probably not. I actually did read a finance book. Rich Dad Poor Dad is one of the only books I've probably ever really read cover to cover. And because it was an easy read for me, I'm not a good reader, folks.
Casino is a good book, by the way.
The movie's better though.
But have you read the book?
I don't know. To me, like, I can't see Joe Pesci, stabbing somebody in the neck and shit.
No, but it's good to watch the movie first, then read the book. Because if you read the book,
most people say they want to do the opposite, right?
Yeah.
The movie's never as good as the book, man. I'm not knocking people that read. I'm like, I just can't. It's not something my brain is set up to do. It's a very visual. So I'm literally, when I'm reading a book, I'm trying to put everything that they're saying in the book into some sort of picture. Unfortunately, not everything can be put into a picture. So it's very hard for me to understand and grasp and comprehend. So that's the reason why it's tough. What ticker to invest in for chips like NVIDIA? Well, I mean, SOXL, doesn't that do it?
Yeah, I think that's probably what. Yeah, she's probably thinking, what was XO? It's probably SOXL.
Yeah. SOXL. It's a triple leverage, by the way. I'm sure there's a non-triple leverage one too, though.
Yeah, it's SMH, like shaking my head.
And then there's TSM if you want to get a into. The hell is that? That's the major chip maker.
Taiwan Semiconductor.
Taiwan Semiconductor. There we go. I don't mind owning by. More power to you. I don't want to own that crap. I just don't see. Matt has a point though. He thinks that cows are going to go away. It's like gasoline cars. Cows are going to go away. There's not enough food. There's not enough cows to go around. But the way I look at it is, there's not enough vegetables and whatever the bullshit they throw into Beyond Meat. There's not enough of that to go around either.
Yeah, I was in. I think I was in Costco or somewhere, and I was reading the ingredient list, and I was like, "What the hell is this stuff?"
You can't even pronounce it, can you?
Mm-mm.
Pea protein.
I thought it was supposed to be like natural.
Oh no! Well, the ingredients are probably natural, but the problem is it's 100% processed. Though you can't not make a Beyond Meat burger without something. It's 100% processed. You want a 100% processed product, Or do you want a slab of freaking meat that's 0% processed? As long as you buy quality meat that has no antibiotics, it's raised out in a pasture with no GMO grain, that's about as quality food as you can eat. Yeah, just do I do. I have spies on every week. I have spies on every single week. I don't do them daily, but um, spy wouldn't be a bad one to day trade, actually. Yeah, I don't know. There must be a joke there that I'm not seeing.
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so.
Okay.
You can do the QQQs too.
Yeah, I do. I have QQQs and spies on pretty much weekly. You have to be careful, though. Those damn spies uses so much buy-in power. I don't know why they do, but they do. More than the Qs.
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
Is it better to sell lower priced options or sell higher premiums and then end up rolling if things go wrong? Oh God, that's a tough question to answer. I'm to the fact that I would rather be safer in the strike and not have to deal with any of that crap. But there's other people, like Thumper's a good example, where he feels like it's just not worth, $30,000 to make $70. So he wants to go deeper, closer to the money, make more money, but he's going to get tested more often. I think it's a personal preference there. For a beginner, I'd say go out, be safe, start with there.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to know how to deal with all the other issues.
Yeah, managing it. I mean, if you end up with a lot of positions on, and then, if you're selling those higher premiums, you could really put yourself in a pickle there to have to manage a whole bunch of stuff. And as a beginner, you really don't want to be doing that.
We'll go for another 8 or 9 minutes, folks. We'll stop it at 2.5 hours. So get your questions in. We'll pop through them. Let's see here. Yeah, it's a science project for sure. I think that's what Matt calls it, by the way. It's a science project. Yeah, it's definitely a science project. Probably gives you the shits too, by the way, but I don't know. Probably would be anyway. If I sell a put for Tesla with a strike price of 690 and become in the money, can it get assigned at any time? Yes, it can. It's rare. Probably wouldn't happen, but it could.
Yeah, it's rare because when you sell a contract, so
somebody on the other side would be losing money to assign you, basically.
Yeah, selling is there's obligations as a seller and there's rights as a buyer. So the buyer has the right to execute that contract that you sold them. So
it's rare. There is some people out there that want to F people on the other side, so they will do it. So they're like, they're disgruntled or something, but they want to screw the other person, but they have to take a loss to do it. They've taken a loss to do it. There's extrinsic value is still left in there if you could expire, right? If it's before expiry, there's extrinsic value still there.
But most options traders have no desire to own stock. So usually.
Correct. That's because they're big institutions usually. Let's see here. If you have the cash for it, you keep on rolling it. Is that to the just do Spiley daily CSP question?
Yeah.
Okay. If you have cash for it, you keep on rolling. Yeah. That's kind of what the Theta Gang thing does, honestly. Yeah, I don't do that strategy, but I'm okay with it. My question is, how soon could an in the money put get assigned to me? Right away. Could be assigned right away. It's never happened to me. It's never ever happened to me. But there is people that we talk to and they say, oh yeah, it happened to them. But it also depends on the stock too, though, right? Some of those meme type stocks are usually in by young people often, and they tend to do stuff like that. haphazardly or whatever. Because most
what does this button do?
kind of, yeah, something like that a little bit. But I've never been assigned early, ever. I've been doing options for 12 years, 9 years, 12 or 13 years now, something like that. So it's never, ever happened to me. But you just have to be ready for it. You can just sell it the next day. Yeah. I wonder if Investing Sensei, is anybody assigned early on him? Investing Sensei, if anything's been assigned on you early, let us know. CSPs are rarely assigned before, yeah. Or still, yeah, exactly. That's what we just talked about. It takes me on the other end to take a loss to do it. And a lot of times they just want to screw somebody on the other side, so they'll forego that extrinsic value, take a loss on it. So when you don't sell into earnings, is it the week leading into the week of earnings? So that is a strategy I've done in the past where my expiry is past earnings and I'm banking on the stock to go up before earnings and then I get out of it before earnings. But that don't always count on that working. It doesn't always work. But it is a strategy you could try. This won't always work. You give the buyer the right to exercise any time. But from my experience, it only happened during yeah. Yeah, because they'd be screwing themselves. Let's see here. What I've heard, I don't remember who said it, but it's been happening more that you get assigned early. But honestly, it's usually on those meme stocks and shit like that these young kids are doing. Zennials. Let's see here. Yes, that's a good point there that you just brought up. There is people out there doing dividend arbitrage. They're trying to arbitrage it. There's actually software out there that tries to figure it out for you and all that. It goes out there and finds it. You should do this and then sell this and then exercise it. So, I mean, it was a valid strategy. It's harder and harder to do now, but there is a strategy. There is dividend arbitrage out there. Robinhood gives you a load. Yeah. I don't know. IB kind of tells you. IB's been saying this is a potential to get exercise early, but it's most likely not going to happen or something like that during the dividend. But it's never happened. Let's see. How often do you check up on your stock to see how they're doing? Daily, hourly, minutely, secondly. Microsecondly. Honestly, yeah, I'm on my computer all day long because I work from the computer anyway. I'm looking at the computer in the morning at least probably for a straight hour, putting on stuff, taking stuff off, managing stuff, and then throughout the day I might kind of try to find another good position to put on. I'll check to see if anything is up near 70% profit. I'll take it off if I need to, but it's all day. I might not be like glued to it all day, like where I'm staring at but I have it up all day and I'll glance at it multiple times throughout the whole day. And then near the end of the day, I'm always usually watching the market close usually too. What's this one? I left your comment about fucking a swing trade. What did I say at this video?
Yeah.
I'm lost. What did I say?
The guy talking about why do options when you can swing trade and get 4 or 5%.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I see what he's talking about now. Yeah. For anybody that's even swing trade stock, I'm not even talking about options in this case. Here's let me back that up a little bit. A day trader doesn't have any intention of swing trading, right? They get into something and it went against them. They didn't want to take a loss. It turns into a swing trade. Well, guess what? That swing trade turns into a multi-month hold. Right? And then they find themselves on conference calls to find out what the fuck happened. I've been there. Win Resorts is a good example. That was just a CSP on Win Resorts. We can make like a quick $100 sitting in a hotel room, and it went against me. And then it tanked from 150 down to 50. And I was every conference call for like a year. Freaking waiting for Macau to open up, waiting for the bridge to be completed, waiting for Massachusetts to be built, all this crap. Steve Wynn, it's like, oh my God. And you know what? Someone cover calls end up repairing that trade and get me out of it. But that's funny. Yeah, that's the making of a long-term hold from a day trader. Timestamp for that. Yeah, I don't know what you said, Investing Sensei. Do you let your cash secured puts expire worthless, or do you buy them back? That's actually a good question, because I honestly, it depends on which stock it is or something. Some stocks you just can't. Like some of the ETFs, you can't buy them back, or it costs you too much to buy it back, regardless whether it's 5 cents or not. I'm always trying to. In some position, I might buy it back at 50% profit, but I've been trying to go up to 70% lately. So that's where I'm at on that. My covered calls, I usually just I let expire. I don't even buy them back. What do you do there, Gerry?
I've probably done 1,000 trades or more, and I've never let one expire worthless. So I don't know. I always buy them back, and it's on a case-by-case basis. I mean, sometimes I'll buy them back at a 25% profit, sometimes at 50, sometimes I'll get 90 out of it. But it's really dependent upon that stock. Like if I'm in a monthly stock or a monthly put, and that sucker just ain't moving, and it's been, I'm in it 2 weeks or a week and it's not doing anything, I'll take it off and I'll find something else to do something with it. It
makes sense too, because that first part of the decay happens pretty quick, and then it kind of gets stagnant, right? That probably has something to do with all those other, Greeks, right? But it does. It'll stick around at 70% day after day after day and not really move until it gets like the last 2 or 3 days, and then it starts moving. Some of them don't even move from 70% to like 90 until the very last day. So it makes sense. Take it off and put some new shit on that can start decaying and working for you.
If you have a option that you sold for $1, and you can buy it back for 10 cents or 15 cents, and it's still got 3-4 days out, buy that sucker back, because it's like why wait for 4 days for $10? It doesn't make any sense.
Good point. Good night, guys. Investing Sensei, I like buying back 70%. Yeah, 70% is tougher though. Like I have stuff that just doesn't get pushed up there until it gets closer. So it's definitely where I'm at though, because I'm going to take the time to put it on. I try to put it at 70% now, and that way I put on about $1,200 in premium a week. I buy back 30% of it, and then it gets me right around where I want to be profit wise. So we're getting there. This is the last one. Let's see if anyone pops up before we close this down. Do you think inflation will still happen if more people are investing now due to the pandemic, and people have spent a whole year learning new habits? Production will increase as we open, increasing supply. Well, production and what will increase? I keep hearing this quote unquote pent up demand. What are we talking about? I mean, what's pent up? I have no desire to spend any money in anything. If I was going to spend money, I would have already spent it on something. You know what I mean? Like, what's the pent up demand? Cars? I mean, are you aching to go out and spend money, Gerry?
No, I'm the one that never wants to spend money. So
I'm just curious. What I know, unfortunately, there's like everybody outside the community, outside the finance community, they're probably gonna have pent up demand to go spend money, right? Like they're gonna go spend money, but there's not many money I'm spending on just because the pandemic's over or whatever that I wouldn't have already bought. So I don't know. Inflation, I think, will probably go up, but when does it not ever go up anyway? That's how, I mean, that 8%, that the 2% number is wrong anyway. Inflation's way higher than that. A gallon of milk goes up more than 2%. I don't know. That's just a tough one. I think that still you just want to be in equities at this point. What is the best way to get more money out of my cash secured put sales?
Learn.
Higher IV, but that comes with risk too because it's usually a crappier stock. High IV. Is that the only thing?
Try to follow stocks.
Problem with that though, if you're searching for high IV, that could bring you down to like the chasing yield syndrome of dividend stocks. Yeah. So you got to be careful if you're chasing IV. You can like get a basket of stocks that are solid and then sort by the IV and go that method, but actually like searching for stocks just based on IV is probably not the way to go. So I also like to buy back a contract if I sold it recently and within 1 day already collected at least. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I want a boat. You're already in a boat. You're probably in the same boat I'm in. Not sure what he's talking about. There hasn't been a shortage of things. When more people go back to work, there will be more things created. I don't know about that because I still think why would a company produce a bunch of stuff if there's nobody to buy it, right? Like they're going to have all that labor in, work in, making all this product that's going to sit on the shelf. Unless there's demand for it, why would they produce it?
I mean, there's going to be pockets, right? There's going to be pockets of things that pop up, and there's going to be pockets of things that freaking fall through the freaking floor. Like we were talking last night, RVs have freaking skyrocketed like crazy this past year. And when people get back to quote unquote normal, what's going to happen? So
there'll be a boatload of RVs for sale on Craigslist and marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and all that crap.
Yeah,
because every day is a baby boomer dying too. So
and then those manufacturers that manufacture those, the chassis manufacturers, the engine manufacturers, all those part things are going to suffer. So,
yeah, we should get into some condom stock. That'll probably, I mean, think about it. Everybody's staying in the house, it's like condoms will skyrocket as soon as we reopen. I think. Okay, thanks, guys. Always learn something. Good night. See you, buddy. Let's see, we got. God, I hope that's a man. Let's see. Would you consider sending out alerts for your option sales? There's really not a good way to do that unless it's like a Patreon or something like that. I thought about doing a Patreon just so I could do more real-time stuff, but I'm really hesitant to do a Patreon too because my whole thing of starting YouTube wasn't to get rich or anything like that, do Patreon, it's like, it just didn't feel right to do a Patreon for me anyway. But it is a good way to get out stuff like that. It's just a lot of work. It's not easy to do.
The only problem with that, if you're talking about alerts, like, for you to sell the same option contract we're selling,
too late.
If you're not doing it like right now, forget it.
Yeah, that's true. It's a parrot trade.
The price, yeah. If you're going to try to parrot trade somebody, you're almost too late if you're not there right then and there, because options just, it's a moving.
And then you're going to get all pissed off.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see here. Are you bullish on any specific airline and why? Honestly, I was looking at Delta and only Delta. And the only reason I say that is because it was the biggest. That's the only reason why. I think that it was like Southwest was in a better position, I think. I think Alaska was in a better position, but I look at the biggest and the baddest out there in the industry, like CCL is a good example. Even though they might not have been the highest quality, ship company or cruise company or whatever, but I always want to go with the biggest and the baddest because I don't think that they're going to go under, but that is just my logic. It could be flawed. See ya. We're literally gonna cut this off. I'm trying to get through all these that keep popping up. With last week's run up going, if I recall, yeah, I wish I could have got in on there. It ran up just faster than I get in when I was already in something else, and they were just worked too much. I couldn't buy it. So, but I wish I could have got into a Boeing Leap. He had a cover call in it though. Rolling no longer data is not an option. Wait, last week's run up in Boeing cover call I saw went too deep. Oh yeah, I understand. Yeah, that's called getting Roku'd.
Well, it's called having forced profit.
Yeah, well, hopefully you don't have like a big gain that you got to deal with, like tax wise, but otherwise you just margin. You can probably roll it out like a year or something. But if margin amount in the account is not a problem, do you have any strategies to unwind the position? Yeah. Average up? No, not average it up is probably not the right way. Longer DTE, you can roll it out to a long DT probably, right? That's really all you have. That's the only option. Buy it back, and then just spread, go with a way higher strike and just spread it out over the next couple of months to make the money back. That's an option too. That's probably what I would do. Depends on how big the gain is in the underlying position though. I follow your videos because I love your honesty. Talking about Gerry or mine? Or both of us? Gerry's pretty honest. I just say from my point of view, there's no fluff in what I say. A lot of people probably disagree with what I say. Like on ExxonMobil, the T and the, dividend getting cut and the Coca-Cola getting cut. I mean, I'm just, from my point of view, I don't know whether I'm right or wrong, right? I've been pretty right so far in a lot of stuff I've said, but I don't care about being right and wrong. I just care about giving you my opinion. Anyways, wonderful video and wealth of knowledge. Hope both of you have a wonderful night. Can't wait to see you next video. Thank you, MDB. Sun Country Airlines specifically in vacant. I haven't heard of that one. Sun Country Airlines. Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard of that one before. Where is that, in the U.S.? Forget about Patreon. Keep doing what you're doing. Yeah, exactly. I really don't want something where, yeah, the Patreon is just not the route I was wanting to go. Should I do options trading? No, Cody. Thank you for your suggestion. I will close it out. All right, we're down to the end, folks. Hang on a second here. Let me try to get. Make sure you join Randy's Discord because we're all in there. If you want to, it's free to join. He's not charging any money or anything like that. The link is in the description if you want to look at Randy's Discord. And we're all on there. Even GW's in there. Big GW.
Yeah, so, you got to ask some questions. It's kind of quiet. It's been quiet in there lately. We need to get some questions being asked in there.
There's I put the link to Gerry's channel there. Go ahead and subscribe if you're not subscribed to him. You guys are fabulous. Let's see here. Yeah, thanks for that, Drizzle. Should I get out? Should I ask again? Yeah. If you want. Same answer though. Good night, MTV. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining. We'll close it down 2 hours and 40 minutes here. It's a little longer than usual, but it is what it is. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next week. Gerry, if you want to give a little closeout, or if not, you can skip it.
Nope, I'm good. Thank you, guys. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks a lot, everybody, for the question. Let's have a good week, and we'll see you next week.